Kumpeleke polisi, polisi nao wazaweruza. Kumpeleke polisi. Makali one. Hello. Good morning, Chiwempala. Good morning, Chingola. Good morning, Inchanga. Good morning, Kazungula and Livingstone. Good morning, Choma and Mazabuka. Good morning, Magoye. And good morning, Mongu. Good morning, Chadiza. Good morning, Katete. Good morning, Nakonde. Good morning, Zambia. And good morning, Central, Southern, West, East Africa, and all the Africas that there is. My name is Elias Munsha, and we are live right here on TVBAKWETU. And as promised, today is 6 to 6 elections coverage. We started at 6 with that live segment that has just ended, and now we are moving on to the next segment, which is this one that starts at 7. So, and then we are going to continue. We've got several things lined up today. We are going to take a break to go to a church service. So we are going to share a link to a church service today. After that, we are going to continue with our regular programming. And then at 3 p.m., we are going to share the link from the UPND virtual rally. And then after the virtual rally, we are then going to come back as TVBAKWETU to conclude the day. With me here, and please note that while we have the 3 of us as co-hosts today, we are going to have several guests, including Honorable Garin Kombo, Mr. Victor Nyasulu, Lusaka Mayor, Honorable Garin Kombo, the aspirant for Mazabuka Central Parliamentary seat, and several other candidates from around the country. And so it's a fully packed day. We want to do this because we want to establish our presence on the 1st of August. I know that in Zambia, it's already August 1st. Here in Alberta, we are still in July, but very soon we'll also be crossing over to August. So that is a little bit of inconsistency in terms of the timing and everything else. And so please just buy enough bundles, because today we are on for the rest of the day. General Chipakupaku, good morning, good evening. With us, it's still evening. It's very late at close to midnight here. It's 23:12. And good morning, General Chipakupaku.
Good morning, Chuampala. Good morning, Bala today. Good morning, people in Mongo, Kwahaye. Good morning to our people in Kabwe. Good morning to all our people in Katete. Good morning, Zambia. 1st of August, 2021. 12 days to go. 12 days to go before elections. We are live, as Musha said, 6 to 6 today, and we hope that we can bring as many UPND candidates as possible, Musha. And we also hope that we can also go to church. It's a Sunday. You are still on Saturday, Musha. With us here in Scotland is Sunday morning. So it's fantastic to see Jeremy up very early in the morning. Jeremy, good morning. How is Luansha today?
Oh, you've muted yourself, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Good morning, General, and good morning, everyone. Today, now we have stopped saying next month. We are saying this month because it's now August, and we are voting in less than now 2 weeks, less than 11 days will be there voting. And today, at least, is sunny here in Rwanda, but though there's a cold thing that is going through. And the other thing that something, good morning, General. Yesterday, actually, I wanted to wish our president and the first lady happy 33rd anniversary. You see, the way I liked it, the way I love, let's say, my president is his family life, he has put it aside, and his political life, he has put it aside. Some years back, people were saying that, no, he's gay, he's not married, he's whatever thing. But yesterday, he just said, no, look, we have been married for now 33 years. We are still going strong and stronger. I think I was very much motivated, but my issue was also there.
You mean the shoe from 32 years ago?
Yes, the same presidential shoe. It was, I discovered that it was the same one which he used on his wedding. So
Musha, I was recently listening to HH's story. He was actually being interviewed a few years ago, and he was being asked about his wife, Mutinda. And he said they were married, I think, for almost 7 years, 8 years without a child. So the family started saying, what's happening? What's happening? We don't, and in our culture, you know what it is, 7 years without a child. So they had the first child, and the child died. The second child, I think the child died. The third one died. Until the they got the fourth one, which is a girl, and then a boy, and then a boy. So you are saying, look, let's be persistent. Let's not just say because my wife and I can't have a child, so 2 years, 3 years, 7 years, that's it. That was going to be the end of marriage with him, Pinter. He decided, no, it can't be. And his family was saying, what's wrong with you? Is it your wife? Is it you? But he said, no, God's time is the best time. And so I think God's time is the best time for HH this year. 12 days to go, Musha, and it's going to be very interesting. Musha, I wanted us to review the 7 years of Mr. Lungu.
Right.
What are the issues which we have gone through? Social, economic, political issues. What have we seen in the last 7 years? Of course, one of the worst things is having KK dying within the 7 years of Mr. Lungu's presidency.
Right.
And there are also a lot of things which have happened. So I wanted us to kick off with the review of the last 7 years so that we can give our viewers the story as it unfolded in the last 7 years, and then pick up the current issues, the deaths in Kanyama. Is it Kanyama or Chawama? I'm not sure now. And the current heated political situation. And I also wanted us to pick up from there and bring in some of the candidates from UPND. Today we're picking any candidate from anywhere, whether mayor, whether parliamentary candidate, whether ward councillor. If they're able to tune in, they'll tune in today. Musha, over to you.
Yes. So, of course, one of the things that we need to look at for President Lungu's reign, so to speak, when it started in 2015, it came after the passing of President Michael Sata. That's very important for us to remember, because we cannot completely extract Lungu out of the Sata story, right?
Yeah.
And the Sata story is one of the most complicated stories that has ever faced our presidents, in the sense that Michael Sata begins his presidency in 2011. He appears to be quite a vibrant old man, as vibrant as he was. How old was President Sata when he became president?
Michael Sata was older than Arabi. So
right.
I'm really not sure. Jeremy, would you remember how old Sata was when he died?
I don't know, but it should be about 70, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, we'll come to that. And so there was a lot of promise, a lot of expectation. President Sata started off, during his campaigns, of course, he was anti-Chinese.
Yeah.
He becomes president, he becomes pro-Chinese. But we will never know, and this is why I think several political players in our country really need to tell us what happened. I'm almost feeling like there is need for a commission of inquiry into what exactly happened during the Michael Sata regime. Okay, so then, at least for 2 years, he was okay.
Musha,
and then after 2 years of leadership, yes?
I can give you some historical perspective of the Chinese situation, because I studied in China for some time.
Right.
China got its independence, it got liberated in 1947.
Right.
But in 1947, the people they defeated, the Kuomintang, ran away and they started their own country called Taiwan.
Yeah.
And Taiwan has always been supported by the Americans, because Taiwan became the Republic of Taiwan after China, and
right.
Mao Zedong became the Republic of China. So China and Taiwan are two different countries, although they're the same people. Now, what really happened was that when Michael Sata started his politics, he went to Taiwan. Those of you who remember, Sata was deported from Malawi. because Malawi had no Chinese embassy. They had a Taiwanese embassy in Malawi. So he went to Taiwan and said, look, me, when I take over as Zambian president, I won't deal with China. I'll be dealing with Taiwan.
Right.
And the Taiwanese gave him money. And remember that he went to South Africa, he had some dollars confiscated from him. And they declared him persona non grata in Malawi.
Right.
Because he was dealing with the Taiwanese. And the Chinese were not happy with that. So when he announced him to say, I don't want China here, no China here, then he became president.
Right.
The pressure became very, very high because the Chinese said, look, if you don't recognize us as China, we're pulling out our investment in Zambia. So that's why you had the first meetings that I had with any of the embassies was Chinese.
Right. Yeah. So then he has that meeting. He becomes pro-China. They threaten him, and then of course I think there is a change of policy. The Chinese now begin bankrolling the Patriotic Front. In my opinion, I think they began bankrolling him, but 2 years into Michael Sata's presidency, something changed, right?
Yep.
There is infighting in the Patriotic Front. And there are several camps that have emerged in the Patriotic Front. And as these camps are emerging, there is a lot of jealousy and all sorts of things. There is Winter Kabimba and Fred Membe, who was not a member of the Patriotic Front, but was extremely influential. General, this is what I believe about the Post. The Post is one of the most influential private companies over a government in the history of our country. No private enterprise has had so much influence on a government than did the Post over the Sata government. From the days of the British South African companies, that's how huge the Post's influence. Immediately after Sata became president, the Post, almost all of its newsroom, supplied diplomats, supplied government workers, supplied the presidential spokesperson for Mr. Sata, and several things. In fact, it still had clout inside President Sata's office, including the entire Patriotic Front. It was all the Post. So it would be interesting to know what candidate Fred Membe actually says about the kind of influence that he had. As far as I'm concerned, those are some of the questions that Fred Membe must answer. How come his company had so much influence over the Sata government? Anyway, 2 years of the Sata presidency, the faction that wins is the Edgar Lungu faction, right? And even to call it the Edgar Lungu faction, I think it's a misrepresentation. It must be called something else. It must be the Alexander Chikwanda faction, and then Chikwanda and several other people, they then identify Edgar Lungu to be the most appropriate person for them to use for the presidency. Because if Alexander Chikwanda had wanted somebody else, they would have shifted to somebody else. And so Winter Kabimba collapses and loses it. And so that is what creates the Edgar Lungu presidency. But General, I must confess something here. The Michael Sata government was extremely corrupt. Now, I know that there are several people who think otherwise.
Yeah.
Michael Sata appointed almost a tribalist cabinet, an entire cabinet full of people that are directly connected to him.
Yeah.
Relatives, tribesmen and women, and all that. The first lady, the family of the first lady, took over all the diplomatic stations around the world.
Well,
that is very well known and documented. They even created new diplomatic posts in countries such as Belgium. Why would you create a diplomatic post in Belgium when you have diplomatic posts in Germany,
EU?
And so that was the corruption that I did not like. And so when there was a possibility of a fresh beginning, personally, I thought that the Edgar Lungu alternative was a better alternative in 2015.
Musha, I was in London. Sorry, Jeremy, that you are quiet. I will give you a chance when I finish. I was in London when Arabi lost, and when Sata took over. What I experienced in London was just unbelievable. As soon as I went to the High Commission in London, it was Professor Mukwena there as High Commissioner. The High Commissioner had changed. The official language became one language. It was not English anymore. Suddenly, Sata came in. The official language in the High Commission was one language, not the English language. And all of a sudden, everybody was replaced, including the High Commissioner. And Sata sent his granddaughter as the secretary to the High Commission. And so what you are saying, which is true. It was how shocking the High Commission, and I'm told all the embassies became, the official language was Sata's language. And so that was the last time I went to Zambian High Commission, to be very honest with you. So what do you remember, Jeremy? What do you remember during that transition when the old man died, Sata died in 2014? Because he died a few days, was it a few days before independence? Because we had prepared our independence here in Scotland, and all of a sudden also told the president died. So what do you remember during that faction when Winter Kabimba is thrown out and they are carrying coffins everywhere? And and what do you remember, Jerome?
Yeah, I think if I remember, starting from just 2011, even before 2011, what we need to know very well is the Post newspaper first was very much instrumental in terms of carrying the message or propaganda for the opposition political party then, which was PF, in such a way that people used to believe whatever the Post says or whatever is reported in the Post, and it was widely distributed. So that's the influence that Freddie Membe played on the elections for President Michael Sata. Not only that, most of the statements when President Sata was in opposition, the journalists for the Post newspaper were the one who were writing. And moreover, George Cheddar was the one who was doing all the writing for President Michael Sata when he was in opposition. So when the people of Zambia now gave President Michael Sata the opportunity to serve as a president, he remembered George Cheddar, which for me, I said that was a good part of him. And he remembered most of the people from the Post, including the Amos Marupenga, who is today the permanent secretary, and other people. But as things stands today, those workers whom were used to bring the Post down, today they are complaining that the liquidator, or is it the liquidator, the Lewis Musho, has not paid them any money up to today since the time of liquidation and the closure of the Post and the selling of all the assets of the Post. They are not being paid. So this the situation of the Post is something that is teaching us, the Zambians, to say, even if you have that influence, don't expect to be rewarded by giving something by those who come into office, because anything may happen. But the people who went as independent, today we have seen that in News Diggers, it is the most influential private newspaper that we currently have in the country.
Okay.
And
now we are coming to that, but the focus here is on the Lungu 7 years of the Lungu presidency, right? But
yeah.
but we've got to move this way until we reach where News Diggers is, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, let me end there. Let me pause there. Then, when President Michael Sata was inaugurated, one thing that there are two things which one which I liked and one which I didn't like. One, at least, though some people call it very good, but it changed all the contractual civil servants, cleaners and that, and they had to put them as permanent workers. In that the wage for civil servants went up, and the people who were there were now from that time were tended to be permanent workers. The reason was simple, because Michael Sata knew that the cleaners were the majorities and these other people were majorities, and he wanted support from them. Then the other thing which was not good in his tenure, which I didn't like, was the thing of him waking up and just announcing districts, you see, without considering all what is needed
Right.
to make that district. Because the way suppose what I understand, I happened one time to be in Namibia when their president wanted to declare one of the places to be a district. What happened was, first, they said they advertised or said in the public newspaper for people's submission for that area. Two, it went to parliament. After it went to parliament, then they said they allocated the resources. Then the president came back to announce to the members of the public to say, this place is now a district, and they started working on that. But now with the late president, he was just waking up, and today he can even come and mention your home to be a district. Now you wonder to say, how can this be a district? And that they try to bring now a lot of pressure on the finance and the economy of the country. That's where the problem of Zambia, which we have today, started. Though in terms of giving contracts, the contracts which were there were very much reasonable as compared to the prices of the same contracts that are there today. But the problem started there when the president himself started announcing districts. And when Michael Sata won, because in Zambia sometimes we behave as if we don't care, we voted with the Chimwera. So when he won, he discovered that he had no people to appoint, no reasonable people to appoint as ministers, no reasonable people to appoint to be working with him in cabinet. And he thought and he saw that, look, if I appoint you as a minister, you need to have that technical knowledge on how you can address and talk with other people who are coming from other countries. But he discovered that most of the people were the Caponias. Some of the people were just sitting in Nyanji Kurwansha. Some of the people were just in that just this simple business, and they are thinking or they are articulate or where their reasoning in terms of or intellectual capacity was very minimal. And the president himself said, I have I don't have I've West MPs, and my MPs are just they're getting fat, something like that. If you remember in the post, it was an headline. So that's where the thing is. And now we are here at the same time in 2021. We hope we are not going to do the same like we did in 2011, where the president wins, he comes and asks, I don't have people to be as ministers and all that. When Sata died, that day of dying, or before dying, there was an issue of Winter Kavimba pricing. And this is where the big problem was. Sata didn't want anyone who have ambitions or anyone who wants to take over as president who show those ambitions. For me, that was the weakness in his party. As a leader, you're already the president. So the best thing what was supposed to do was start to groom now other people, 3 or 4 people who can be able to take over from him after dying. But it happens to say immediately we are seen to have some ambitions that you want to be one day a president. Sata will reprimand you in public. And one of the person who was reprimanded was Chimbakamburi in the public by the president, saying that, no, I know you want to take over from me as a president. What and all that was not good. And in that way, it gave enough now uh, uh, power to Winter Kavimba, who was the Secretary General, who was moving around the country in the name of mobilizing and organizing the party, but making his own structure there as he was also preparing to take over the Patriotic Front. And that brought a lot of issues within the Patriotic Front. when Winter was moving, there were a lot of talks within the party structures where most of the people, they didn't like his way of leadership. Though I can confess that Winter Kavimba was the best Secretary General of the Patriotic Front. And no Secretary General of the Patriotic Front has been so good as compared to Winter Kavimba. This is the one, the late one who died, Mumbi. Yeah, Edwin. Is it Edwin Mumbi? Edwin Mumbi also.
Edward Mumbi.
Yeah. Was also a very good SG. But pro Edwin, after Edwin Mumbi, Winter Kavimba tried, yes, he mobilized the party, he brought discipline in the party, and he brought people to start following up how the structure and the respecting the issue of the structure. That brought a lot of difficulties to some people who thought like being in leadership is just chipante-pante. So when Winter Kavimba was fired, and him being fired, according to Guy Scott, he said Winter Kavimba was not fired by the president when you read his book. And he mentioned to say Winter Kavimba was fired today, but the following day, the president asked for, where is Winter? I want to talk to Winter. So there are a lot of other talks that other people need to come in to clear of some of us in the air to say what happened before Winter being fired. But the people celebrated the firing of Winter. Then came in the issue of Edgar Lungu, who was by then should be a deputy minister, he was the defense minister, and he had another thing. Then he was put as acting secretary general by the people who were there. I don't know who those people, but some people.
Yes, of course. The theory was that it was the president Sata who had done that, but there is a lot of questions about that, and we cannot. I think we need the truth about what exactly happened in those few days. Who actually made those appointments, right?
When you read the Dr. Guy Scott's book, Dr. Guy Scott has just refused to say President Sata didn't make those decisions.
Yes. So who did?
Yeah, that's the question, Mucha. Because if you look at the last photograph of the president Sata, late Sata, may so rest in peace, going to parliament, I don't think he was in a state where he could think.
No.
And I believe strongly, I mean, I must confess, I was not close to Sata. Although he was unique. I was never close to Sata. So Sata could not phone me, neither could I phone him. And I believe there was a time when he was so bad, but people wanted to hold on to him.
Right.
Because they didn't know who was going to take over. And I think this is where the confusion became. And when that period came, I remember the picture of him going to parliament to address parliament. I don't think he was in a state where he could remember anything. And then now you have the powers being left in Edgar Lungu's hands when he's brought to the hospital, and his defense minister, he's got another post. And then there is a Muzungu vice president who is not allowed to become acting president. So that becomes a very big split. That the man who has got the powers says, no, you Muzungu, you actually don't qualify. I am the one who was left with these powers. And that was the beginning of the clash. And then Kambui wants to stand, another one wants to stand. And I think, in my view, that's when ABC Chikwanda's influence came in.
Right.
I don't know what Musha thinks.
Yes, I think that's where the influence of the Chikwanda group came in. Was it Chikwanda making all these decisions? We need a clear public inquiry into that. But anyway, so Edgar Lungu becomes the front runner. He manages to upset Guy Scott, who is actually acting president, and he manages to upset the PF. They go to their conference and everything else. But it appears like after he becomes president and he wins the presidency, Edgar Lungu still maintains the Sata loyalists. So all of them, they still bounce back to power. They're there with him in 2015. In 2016, he then signs the new constitution, which I believe he had not read. Now, this is one of the things. He had not really read the constitution. So he goes ahead and signs it into law. And that constitution had several positive things, and it really took away powers from the presidency. That's very important to acknowledge. There are several powers that were taken from the presidents. First of all, it created the Constitutional Court. It established the date of the election, because not anymore would the president have the power to just figure out a day for the elections. It was going to be codified. That is huge. That's very huge, because under the 1996 Constitution, a president can just choose any day. And as for Chiluba, they were choosing during the rainy season. So who chose outside the rainy season, but it was very bad. But this new constitution provided for all these. Of course, in order for them to come to some agreement about signing it into law, they decided to remove some sections that were important, and then they jumbled up the language, and so it was a little bit bad, but it was a good start. So I think that if we are to acknowledge any good thing from the 2016 year, at least it was the signing of the 2016 Constitution. That one we must acknowledge. And then corruption continued. And there are too numerous corrupt allegations for us to mention. They went on, borrowed more. They went...
Musha, before we go to the corruption, let's look at how Lungu is elected at Mulungushi. The methods used to elect Mr. Lungu. There are two conferences, one held by Mr. Lungu and Mrs. Wina Boinonge, and then another conference being held by Sylvia Masebo and the Guy Scott. These two conferences, they don't see eye to eye. They're just talking to each other on the phone. I remember the photograph of Edgar Lungu in Kohima Barracks with Hapunda, being told, no, you cannot go to the conference because the Guy Scott is in charge. Him saying, no, I'm the president, I will tell Guy Scott what to do. That was the beginning of problems. There were no elections at Mulungushi. There were those who can't remember, me I remember very well. There were bricks, there were fights there, but they were never elected. And here comes Tutu Angulube, becomes the presiding officer, the returning officer of a brick election, where bricks were thrown, and finally Lungu comes in. But before that, they go to court at night to stop Guy Scott from proceeding with his general conference. That's when the night of a judge being woken up and takes over. My theory is that is the person who was woken up at night became the president of the court, of the Concord.
General,
as a reward for a good job she did by waking up at night.
Okay, I'm not going to speculate on that one, General.
I'm not speculating, but I think that's exactly what happened. So the issue here is that there was corruption at Mulungushi. There were no elections at Mulungushi. And it really split PF into a very bad way. And then some of the people like Mwino Wachisushi just gave in. I remember them rushing to Guy Scott's home to say, no, let's talk. We've made up our mind. Let's talk. Let's come back together. And they forgot about their presidency. When a CK, they wanted to support Lungu, but they were not sure whether Lungu was going to appoint them. That's why it took a long time for CK to be appointed after Lungu won. So that is what happened. The confusion started at that Mulungushi conference. And I think that's where most of the sign of a bad president started from there. Over to you, Mr.
General, before council comes in, I think what you are saying is somehow true, but you are mixing. There are two conferences, yes. There was the one for the Edgar Lungu Chagwa, to be elected, and also the other one which was for the Guys Court. Fortunately, I was there especially for the first conference, and I can assure you what was there, it was serious issue. If you have never seen cadres, one side they're in a tropical with a panga, where on the other side of the lake they have nothing. They have moved from Chawama coming to Kawe. That day it was there. Everyone was there. Everyone was there. If you object to the issue of voting, then you lose your life just there. So even to act in that way, he knew what was outside, which people didn't know. So there was a lot of pressure from the cadres who came with pangas, like serious pangas, and you cannot risk by saying we cannot do this. You'll be hammered just there, and people just look and say, "Oh, this is what has happened." And
So,
I remember
Jeremy, in what capacity were you there?
It's very interesting. So
What capacity were you there?
We left Luansha to go support our own person from Luansha, who was Kambwi.
Jeremy, you can't say what?
So when we now reached that is near, when we reached near this Murungushi, we sent some people to go say, can you check what was happening? And we were communicated to say, here what is happening, there is Edgar Lungu, and if you come with your whatever things, you'll be hammered. And then we removed our shirts and we got all our big oversized shirts of Edgar Lungu for us to go, and we were allowed to enter the Mrongoshi conference there. And like I said, it was like serious. That's the first time I saw like serious cadres with pangas. And I said to myself to say, am I going to go back home? But by the grace of God, I'm here. And that's one.
TVBAKWETU is making history here. Jeremy was PF. Jeremy goes to Mulungushi in a TK campaign. He arrives at Mulungushi, he finds that the story is Adiga Chagwalungu, t-shirts printed, pangas flying all over. He changes viewers. This is history being made at BAKWETU. He changes into an ECL Edgar Lungu t-shirt just to make sure that he suits into the environment. That's serious.
Into an oversized ECL shirt.
That must have been something. Yeah. So this gentleman has been violent from the very beginning.
Yes. So from there, that's when I saw that we are going to have a problem. And today, when you are talking about where have the violence come from, you should know what happened in Kawe. Who came to see that was happening in Kawe? If you remember very well, in Kawe, there was nothing like police or whatever being there at that conference where the current vice president was there. But on the other one, that's where when Dr. Guy Scott was there, that's when there was the police and other people. That was the thing that was happening there in Kawe. And when you see today, you see that there are some issues of the president not being good books with Dr. Guy Scott. When the time for voting, I don't know if it's true or not, but I keep hearing that Dr. Guy Scott didn't vote for Edgar Lungu there as president, but he went for vote for Hakainde Hichilema. So that's where the beef up to today has been there. I think that's what I hear.
You were saying, Jeremy, you think Guy Scott in 2015 he voted for HH and not Edgar?
Yes, that's what most of the people say, that in 2015 Dr. Guy Scott didn't vote for Edgar Lungu. But I don't have them, but that's what he has been put in place to say he didn't vote for Edgar Lungu, but he voted for Hakainde Hichilema.
Yeah, I think for our viewers, especially those who have not been following up the 1996 Constitution, Munsha, you are the lawyer, you are supposed to be guiding us on this. The 1996 Constitution said for you to stand as president, both parents needed to be Zambians. Guy Scott's parents were not Zambian by birth. So that's why he couldn't take over. He couldn't take over as president. He had to act for 90 days and call for elections. And
well,
go no, Musha, you are the lawyer.
I disagree. No, General, I disagree. Okay, it's complicated. Okay, here is why it is complicated. Michael Sata himself, when he became president, he refused to appoint Guy Scott as acting president. So during the 4 years that Michael Sata was president, he never appointed Guy Scott as acting president. In fact, that is what led to the situation where the Black Zambian cabinet of Michael Sata distrusted their vice president. It was because Michael Sata himself was reinforcing something that was not correct. The other complication is Guy Scott himself that did appear to agree with what Michael Sata was saying. So you see, this is where you repeat a lie several times and you begin believing that it is the truth.
Yeah.
Now, I wrote several times on this subject. And what my position was, the Lewanika and Chiluba case, Lewanika versus Chiluba, clarified and answered that question, in the sense that Guy Scott did not need to prove that his father and mother were Zambian if he became a Zambian at independence, because that is what the Lewanika and Chiluba case decided.
Yeah.
That is those are the same reasons that we can apply to Kenneth Kaunda. The reason why, according to the Lewanika and Chiluba case, Kenneth Kaunda would qualify to stand as president is because it is not necessary for us to inquire into the parentage of Reverend David Kaunda, into the citizenship of Reverend David Kaunda. As long as Kenneth Kaunda was present in 1964 at independence, he became a Zambian, making it irrelevant to inquire into Reverend David Kaunda's citizenship. The same applies to Guy Scott. The same applies to Frederick Chiluba. Even if you gave Chiluba to have a Congolese or Katangese father, the Supreme Court said that is irrelevant. Even if Kafupi was a Congolese, that is irrelevant. As long as Chiluba was present in Zambia on Independence Day, he became a Zambian, and the constitutional requirement for a person having both parents to be Zambian is irrelevant for those people who were present in Zambia at independence. That is why I thought Guy Scott qualified. In his book, he refers to Bush lawyers who thought that he qualified in his book. So I don't know whether I am one of those he's referring to as Bush lawyers, because contrary to what most of the lawyers were advising, my position was he qualified. We have it on our blog. You can read it from as far as 2011.
Musha, I'll ask Vice President Guy Scott to give me the names or the list of those Bush lawyers which he was referring.
I think I was the only one who was writing that Guy Scott qualified. I don't think there was anyone who was saying that Guy Scott qualified. I started saying this as early as 2011. If not, as early as 2011, the articles are there. And so I found it very problematic that Michael Sata would openly say that his vice president could not be president. How did Michael Sata appoint a vice president that he believed could not be president? Because the job of a vice president is to be president, for goodness sake. Now, when Michael Sata dies, we have an attorney general, but I think the attorney general gave advice to Guy Scott and advised him that while you could in fact act as president, you couldn't qualify as president. I think that's what Musa Mwenye advised him. Was that right? I think it was wrong. personally.
Well,
because using the precedence of the Lewanika and the Chiluba case, Guy Scott qualifies. The same thing that, like we were talking about the previous case of the third term for Lungu's third term. My position was, because this constitutional court already ruled in the Danipule case, there was no need for us to start a fresh case, because that thing is decided. So the courts follow precedence. So if there is a ruling in 2001 that said that a person who was in Zambia at independence is a Zambian, and you do not need to inquire into the citizenship of their parents, because there was no Zambia before 1964. Guy Scott qualified despite the citizenship of his white Scottish parents. Full stop. That is water under the bridge, of course. Guy Scott believed that lie. He became acting president. He should have run for the presidency if he wanted to. I don't think the court was going to disqualify him, because it was going to follow its own precedents and make him president. He acted as president, but anyway, whatever it is.
Let's fast forward, Mosha. The problem started at Mulungushi. The panga started at Mulungushi. Jeremy was a witness at Mulungushi. The first cabinet is appointed of Mr. Lungu. And in that first cabinet, I could see indecision.
Right.
And remember, CK was appointed last.
Yeah.
In 2016 he was appointed last, but in 2015 was appointed. He was maintained.
No,
in 2015 was maintained.
In 2015, 2016 when he was appointed last. So,
yes.
So the problems started at Mulungushi. And then the first cabinet of Mr. Lungu, his own appointment. What do you think happened, Munsha? Was it the majority of the people he took over were Sata's people, or did he drop Sata's people?
No. I think President Lungu is just an indecisive leader. That's it. There is no initiative. There is no vision. President Lungu is not a visionary leader. He's not somebody who makes things to happen. No, he doesn't. So even the cabinet he appointed after he became president in 2015, it was the same cabinet. There was nothing. There was no imagination. There was nobody who was new. There was nothing that changed. After he won the presidency, President Lungu even took a nap. Was that a nap at Mfue? And gave us the impression that he is retiring to Mfue, and when he comes back from Mfue, he was going to reorganize the government. He went to Mfue for several days, came back, maintained the same thing. Everything was the same. There was no change. President Lungu is not a change leadership. He's not a revolutionary. President Lungu is somebody who just sits down and does things the way they are supposed to do. Everything continued. The over-borrowing continued. The lack of direction continued. The lack of initiative continued. The tribalism continued. The corruption continued. Everything was the same. So I don't say he did not change anything. Of course, he had personal battles with people like GBM and Kambwidi, because they thought that they were the people that they were the rightful owners. Of course, GBM had left earlier because of his own differences, but Kambwidi was much more forceful, and so they differed. But other than that, there was no initiative in Edgar Lungu's new cabinet in 2015. It was the same. Everything was the same.
How about the Post newspaper? Where do you think the love-hate relationship started? Because here was Michael Sata. Here was Michael Sata with all the Post staff, including my young boy George Shela, who I think I loved so much.
Yeah,
and because George Shela was better than Amos Chanda, definitely polite. If he had his own problems, that's his own problem. But I liked George Shela. He was calm. Okay. Now, where do you think the love-hate relationship between Edgar Lungu and the Post?
Because Edgar Lungu knew that the people who were governing were actually the Post. It was the Post which was governing, right? And so when finally Edgar Lungu prevails, or whoever is part of the Edgar Lungu camp prevails and installs Edgar Lungu as the heir apparent, Edgar Lungu continues to have bad beef with the Winter Kabimba Post newspaper group, which was popularly known as the cartel.
The cartel.
So when Edgar Lungu becomes president, it becomes his mission, because as far as the Post is concerned, after Edgar Lungu becomes president, they continue their desire. They've lost influence within the presidency. They are no longer in power, and so they continue their crusade against Edgar Lungu. They begin leaking their wounds. The Post newspaper begins leaking its wounds because Edgar Lungu and his group, they have managed to kick out the Post. That's where the bad blood developed from. So these are some of the questions we need to find out. How did either the Chikwanda Edgar Lungu group manage to upset the Winter Kabimba Guys Court group, right? So they managed to do that, and Edgar Lungu is very unforgiving. Okay, so you don't cross Edgar Lungu and expect to survive. Extremely unforgiving, very humble in appearance, but extremely vicious in terms of unforgiveness. That is the only thing that he does very well: unforgiveness. Unless you come begging and throwing yourself on the ground, that's when he throws a few crumbs at you. That's exactly what happened with the Post. Fred Membe was unwilling to bend, and so he became a casualty, right? They engineer some kind of thing on very, very wrong law on liquidation. And I still maintain that the current law about liquidation in Zambia, there is something fundamentally wrong about obtaining what is known as an ex parte order to liquidate companies. That is not law. It's so unfair, because anyone can go and liquidate a company using an ex parte order. That is highly inappropriate. So anyway, they liquidated the company and they took it over. And so Fred Membe lost his influence. At least
before that
is the only leader who managed to bring the Post down. Everybody else tried, but there was a little bit of democratic reasonability, be it with Mwanawasa, be it with Chiluba, Mwanawasa, Arabi, all these were democratic. They democracy, such that even if the Post was owing taxes, they couldn't just touch it. They said, it's an important part of our democracy. Let it flourish. Not under Edgar Lungu. You cross him, they throw in company law, and they liquidate it.
Munsha, we had problems with the Post in 1991 under Kaunda. Just towards the end of Kaunda's regime, we had hell from Post, but Kaunda never closed it. And the other thing is that before Post was liquidated, there were bullets flying around at the post offices.
Yeah.
The question is, who was sending those bullets? Because this is where the popular statement by Mr. Lungu that if you play with me, I'll come down on you like a ton of bricks.
Yeah.
Came from. So basically, this man is unforgiving. He might look very humble, but when he doesn't like you, he will come down on you with a ton of bricks.
Right.
And I think he proved that by the Post. He proved that by that Prime newspaper. He proved that by the way he treated HH. He can be cruel. The man can be cruel. If you try to cross him, any threat on his power, he will come down. So does this really, really, really surprise you that we have all these deaths and all these threats coming through?
No, it doesn't. Of course it doesn't. So if there are themes that we are picking out of the Edgar Lungu presidency, of course, it's the violence, which starts at Mulungushi. And ironically, it's also the violence that is related to Michael Sata's Chawama connection. So Chawama Pangas general are not new.
No.
They started with Michael Sata's cartel in Chawama during the MMD regime, but that's a story for another day. So there is the aspect of violence. Then there is the aspect of this unforgiveness, because violence and unforgiveness move together. And then there is this aspect of anti-press, the desire to use all the tools at their disposal to close down newspapers, to intimidate journalists, and basically do away with free speech. That is the theme that develops out of the Edgar Lungu presidency from 2015.
Before I come to Jeremy, I also see the same story of making the Secretary General of the party very strong. And Edgar Lungu took over that from Sata because Winter Kawembe became very, very strong. He said he was going to be the second man after the president. And Lungu took over that and tried to continue making the Secretary General very strong. All over the protocol, the Secretary General of the party is very, very strong. I think he's supposed to be a cabinet minister, but more above the cabinet minister. And this makes the party strong. That anybody who crosses the Secretary General of the party is crossing Lungu's path. So it gives the party the power to threaten MPs, threaten ministers, and say, look, the Secretary General is powerful. If you play around, the Secretary General will report you to the president, will be fired. So what do you think, Jeremy, the style of Mr. Lungu, now that he has won the first term and he has won the second term with a new constitution, although the powers have been reduced, but he's still Mr. Lungu and he's still using the press, he's still closing the posts. What do you think about that, Jeremy?
I think the issue of one suppressing the press, I think, has been very much unfortunate. And actually, I sympathize with the press that have suffered terribly. And my friends, sisters and brothers who are journalists, they have suffered terribly, where they have been reduced like just beggars, where they are not supposed to be. They are powerful people who give much information and who risk their lives to make us or to provide news to us, the Zambians. But unfortunately, you find that they are not being given enough space for them to work and practice accordingly. When you check very well, what happened to the Prime TV was very much unfortunate. In such, Prime TV was requesting or asking for the money which the government hold the institution, but it ended up being closed. The issue of the Post newspaper, again, it was the unfortunate part. As much as we may differ in the way we do things, but we should not try to make other people suffer or try to close an institution so that other people can lose their jobs. I think that's not the best way we can sort out our differences. When you check very well in terms of the way it is with the president, it is, yes, very difficult actually. When he appoints you to a position, you need to question yourself. Have you ever come across the president in yourself, whatever? If you have done, better you just say no to that appointment and stay where you are. You are much safer. Unlike you have been appointed, and at the end of the day, you'll be embarrassed because you are going to be shown as an example to the members of the public on how someone should not be. That's the challenge. That's what I've also observed, and that's what I've also seen. Coming back to the issue of the Secretary Generals of a political party being powerful, I think this is where the big problem is, and I hope that even as we form also government as UPND, we are going to differentiate between a political party and also between a political party and the learning of governance, because these are two different institutions. There is no way a political party policies or political party way of doing things come and affect the governance. That should not be allowed and tolerated. Political parties, they should continue doing all what they are doing in terms of politicking to themselves, and the civil service need to be remained as something or institution that is non-partisan and that is being chosen on a meritorious the qualifications or meritorious way of doing things. Now, if also we form government, the party makes whatever it makes there, then again it wants to continue supervising the civil service, then you'll be missing out the point. And I can assure you, we also find it very difficult to govern in a proper way. But if we say civil servants, continue with your civil servants, and as in the party structures and what, let us also continue with the issue of politicking and pushing for policies that we see are okay. I think that will be very good thing to do as compared to the way it is, because you find that the secretary to cabinet is there, the secretary to the party is there. The respect will go more to the secretary of the party as compared to the secretary to cabinet, who's the boss of all civil servants. That's something unacceptable. So for me, I feel PF has failed to differentiate between a political party as PF and the civil service. They think like being a political party, they are higher than civil servants. No, the role of civil servants is to execute the policies a political party puts in place. And the policies are not something that you have, you wake up today and make a policy. No, it is something that you need to consider everything and you need to think through. As a political party, when you give those policy direction to say, this is what we want to be done to the people of Zambia, then the civil servants will receive that and start implementing those policies for the benefit of the people of Zambia. But now, here it is a PF in the way it's doing. It puts a policy, then itself as a political party want to come and execute or implement the policy and pushing away the civil servants. That's not the way it's supposed to do. Civil servants are there to tell you the budget constraints of that policy, the implication of that policy, the positive of that policy, and the negative of that policy. But in the PF government, you find that you only need to talk about the positive of that policy. Don't dare mention the negative of that policy. You'll be called your UPND. That's the challenge which most of the civil servants are facing. And that's the problem the PF made. So as we also form government this month, we need to differentiate being a political party and also civil service. Let civil service do the work accordingly, and let the political party do whatever they think they do according to their. Because policies for the government are being debated in parliament, and the parliament says, yes, this can be done. So us as a party, we need to know very well to say, this is where we end, and this is where we need to stop our talks. Let's talk about other things. For me, that's the way it's supposed to be.
Okay, Jeremy, this is the old president who managed to have his cadres urinate in the mouths of journalists. One of our viewers here, Phil Pumanga, is reminding us. But I want to ask one question, which I think is also, what was the role of the Pentecostal church in making this president become what he is? A very, very humble man in looking, but cruel in action. Munsha.
Jeremy, go ahead.
Go ahead, Jeremy.
Because Jeremy ni pente. Jeremy ni pente mnandite.
Yeah, you see, one thing that we need to know very well is the Pentecostal church by then actually was very much influential, and we are having a lot of people following them up because of the way the Pente presented itself to the members of the public, where we can have a Pentecostal church somewhere in a poor, in high density or high populated areas with a lot and thousands of people. And these poor people are thinking like these people, they mean well and they are speaking something nice to them. So when the issue of the president now voting for President Edgar Lungu, most of the Pentecostal churches actually believed and not only believed, they went on to campaign for President Edgar Lungu. In that, they were thinking, and they were thinking that the President Edgar Lungu will, one, maintain being a Christian, and is going to show that whatever is going to do, it will all be through the Pentecostal way, in terms of there will be no corruption and all that kind of thing happening. And moreover, we have issues of people trying to play with people's mind. But all the Pentecostals up to today who were there and influential, including Joshua Banda North Mid Assemblies, they have come to realize. And by the way, do you know that Joshua Banda North Mid Assemblies was in the same intake with President Hakainde Hichilema at the ZNS camp? Are you aware of that?
Well, I didn't train them. I think they must have gone to a different camp, not Chioko.
Oh, yeah, they were in the same campus too, but it is unfortunate that this time Joshua Banda seems to be siding on the other side, which should not be the case. So we had that up as Pentecostals, and we thought, like, having President Edgar Lungu there, we are not going to see any form of scandals, and we are going to see someone who's caring for the people. But unfortunately, the opposite has happened, where even the churches now, they have suffered terribly in terms of now having issues of people claiming themselves to be pastors or church for ECL and all those kind of things, which should not be the case. But Pentecostal churches played a bigger role in terms of campaigning for the president in 2015 and 2016. But I don't think so if today the same Pentecostal churches are going to play the same role which they played, because they have seen for themselves and how people are suffering on the hands of the same person they campaigned for. So that was, we were anyway misled.
Jeremy, before Munsha comes in, Munsha, we've got a lot of comments coming through. People want the link. They want to participate. Can we share the link, please?
Yeah, I've been sharing the link.
Yeah, can you continue sharing it? We have a number of comments here. I don't know whether I should read the comments. One of them is coming from Godfrey Chunga. He's saying, please, the General, read the comments. The comments are requesting the link. And somebody saying ECL commented. I don't know what he means there. And then the other question is, when is Honorable Garin Kombo coming on? We are expecting Honorable Garin Kombo anytime when he wakes up. We have already sent him the link this time. And we've also sent a link to Honorable Cornelius Mwetwa and any other person who wants to comment. And for today, let's share the link, Musha. Anybody can come and say, no, you are lying. No journalist had his mouth, nobody urinated into the mouth of a journalist who would be ready to answer that. So let's tackle the issue of you painters, Musha. You painted the Christians for Lungu, and who ended up, some of you becoming permanent secretaries, and some of you became, you started building the church, the assembly, I don't know what you call it, the big building where you will be praying, and you also started sharing big brown envelopes amongst the painters and big cars. Over to you,
So in addition to everything else that I do, I'm actually what we call in theology a political theologian. That's in fact my area of study in my dissertation. I've written on church and state relations in Zambia from an evangelical perspective. And it being an evangelical perspective brings into the issue of Pentes as well. I'm a Pente myself. It's Pentecostal political theology is premised on power. Pentes we are a faith of power. And because we are a faith of power, sometimes we are unwilling to confront political power, because what we see displayed politically, most of us as Pentes, we want to have that power. So we wear military uniforms, we pretend as soldiers, our worldview is explained in terms of a military thing. The pastor is the commander, and the church members are the soldiers that are supposed to follow the commanders. Christians are supposed to pray, and when they pray, they command things in the spirit. And so sometimes our theology makes us very unlikely to confront political power, particularly political power. The only unusual thing was when we stood up against Kenneth Kaunda. And at that time, I think Kenneth Kaunda had banned us, okay? Not completely, but to banning, making Pentecostal churches to register not through the Register of Societies as churches, but through the Companies Act. That's where Bread of Life was registered. That's how Victory Ministries was registered, and several other ministries. But other than Kaunda, when Chiluba comes, Chiluba is a darling of Pentecostals. In fact, even when he's proposing the third term, Pentes are behind him. Very few Pentes actually rebelled against Chiluba's third term bid, and one of them being Nevas Mumba. So Nevas Mumba stands out to be going counterintuitive to a Pentecostal theology. So Nevas Mumba goes against the current of Pentecostalism. During Kaunda, Nevas Mumba actually supported Kaunda. Quite surprising, right? So Nevas Mumba was one of the foremost Pentecostal leaders who backed the trend. In spite of many Pentecostals supporting Chiluba, Nevas Mumba was actually supporting Kenneth Kaunda. A few months before Kaunda leaves power, Nevas Mumba goes, preaches to Kenneth Kaunda, and he leads him to the Lord. Now that is our Pentecostal language, meaning Kaunda becomes a Christian. So that is one of the most important things that Nevas Mumba writes about in his book, Integrity with Fire, that he actually led Kenneth Kaunda to the Lord a few months before Kenneth Kaunda was to lose power. So then during the Arabi regime, of course, Pentecostals are divided. During Sata regime, we are very supportive of Michael Sata. Lungu comes in, and we fall in love with the Lungu presidents. We think that he's a humble guy, and of course he then says that he was going to support the declaration of Zambia as a Christian nation, something that is very close to Pentecostal theology, and so we continued on liking Edgar Lungu until when now the Bill 10 comes in, and the architects of Bill 10 try to deceive Pentes that it's a very good document because it's apparently going to activate the Christian nation clause and everything else. So Pentes fell into the trap, and they supported Bill 10 and Edgar Lungu's attempt to try and mutilate the constitution, the very constitution that he signs in 2016, as a result of most Pentes. I personally did challenge Pentecostal leaders and told them, you cannot love this country and support Bill number 10. But anyway, that is.
Is this what led to the creation of the Ministry of Religious Affairs? And Munsha, in your own view, I'm a Christian. Do you really think Zambia is a Christian country?
Well, that is complicated, General, because what do you mean by Christian country, right? It really depends on what you mean. What do you mean when you say, is Zambia a Christian country? That is what I deal with in my doctoral dissertation.
Yeah, I want you to dissect that dissertation, because being a Christian country, in my view, means that we live according to the Bible. Can you just explain to that? Because to me, a Christian country cannot have people killing each other with pangas. And we have a Minister of Religious Affairs whose job is only to have prayers on the 18th of October, nothing else. What else do they do?
Okay. So in my dissertation, General, I'm drawing from history, from pre-independence. And my argument is Zambians have always been religious, and there is no notional differentiation among most Zambian tribes between what is sacred and what is secular. It's all one. So the sacred secular divide never existed among the people I'm calling ancient Zambians. Now, that is one of the things that I need to address in my dissertation, because I'm saying ancient Zambians when in fact, what is ancient anyway? So Zambians, pre-colonial Zambians, our tribes, be it the Lubalunda immigrants or the Nguni immigrants or the Bantu Botatwe or the I don't know which or the Lozi nations, the Barotse, the Makololo peoples, when they are settling in what we are calling Zambia, when their chiefs are fighting amongst each other, when the Ngonis are trying to establish their superiority over the tribes and enslaving the local Chikunda populations and the Chikunda peoples, there is no notional distinction between the sacred and the secular. It is all one. This is our history. This is what it has been. When the missionaries come in Zambia, in the territories, the missionaries are coming with a distinction between sacred and secular. They, as missionaries, they take care of the sacred, of the holy things, of religion. Their colonial powers are taking care of the secular government, right? So the first time that we Africans are hearing of a distinction between the sacred and the secular is from the missionaries and the colonial state, right? That is what I'm arguing. So, however, because there is no distinction in our minds, we soon run against that distinction. When we run against that distinction, that is where now Alice Lenshina emerges in the 50s and 60s. And Alice Lenshina begins challenging the very notion that there is a distinction between the sacred and the secular. She proclaims that she herself is Regina, because Lenshina actually comes from Regina, which means queen. So she says that she, as the prophetess of God, she is also the queen, just like you had Queen Elizabeth or King George or Queen Victoria. She was the queen. That kind of notion runs into problems with Kenneth Kaunda, and Kenneth Kaunda finds it completely unacceptable that his childhood friend would proclaim herself to be king, to be queen. There is confrontation there. So throughout history, General, we are seeing that Zambians never created this distinction. Even after Kenneth Kaunda becomes president, the first thing that he does, he becomes president on 24th October 1964. Was it 5 January 1965? He leads the amalgamation of several churches in Zambia to create the United Church of Zambia. The first person who said that Zambia was a Christian nation was not Chiluba, it was Kaunda.
Okay.
So when Kaunda becomes president, he carries the same mentality that there is no distinction between the sacred and the secular. The president is also God's servant. So he carries on.
Musha, I think our viewers are getting really frustrated. We need to share the link. There is a comment here from Kesco Chico Babantu, says Zambia is not a Christian country at all. It has Christians living in it. There is no fear of God and love for one another. Christianity is the condition of your relationship with Christ. And a lot of people want to contribute, but there is no link. Can we share the link? Can we share the link?
Now, General, there is no resolution to that problem. There's no resolution to that question. In my dissertation, I'm not arguing whether Zambia is a Christian or not. That is not my contention. My contention is, how can we respond to a nation, to a secular state that declares itself Christian? That is what I'm trying to deal with. Okay. I'm not arguing whether Zambia is a Christian state or not. So my major concern is, if a secular state declares itself Christian, how can Christian churches relate to that state? That is the most important question. Because the idea that Zambia is a Christian nation is not changing anytime soon. Even President Hakainde Hichilema, if he were to become president, he is not going to change the Christian state of Zambia. He won't touch there, he won't go there, and he will not even do anything to reverse that understanding. He won't. One of the things that were difficult for Hakainde Hichilema in the 2016 elections were these accusations that he was a Satanist. So when we were writing privately, when we were writing before we even got to this prominence, we did write and advise President Hakainde Hichilema to be much more outspoken about his faith, because even when Zambians say that Zambia is not a Christian nation, they like religion, they like Christianity, they like, if not religion, they like the pretension of Christianity. That is what it is. Okay. Was Kaunda a real Christian? I don't know, but he pretended, he became a Christian, then he followed Eastern mysticism, the yogi people of India. That really pissed off a lot of Zambians, including the Pentes, and they called him a Satanist. It was only Nevas Mumba who redeemed him a little bit in 1991. Otherwise, Kenneth Kaunda, as far as most Zambians were concerned, was that he became a sellout to Christianity.
Okay, Musha, I think let's be very, very clear. A lot of people are complaining. Kelly Namuyoma, please, General, just share the link. The link is there. It's there on the screen. The link is, Musha has shared the link. If you want to participate with our viewers, the link has been shared.
Right. Okay, so I get animated when I'm talking about this, because most Zambians say Zambia is not a Christian nation. Quite all right, you can say that, but reality is, if you want to be a leader in Zambia, you must pretend that you love religion, and this religion is mostly Christianity. And if you don't pretend that you are a Christian, you will never be president. And Mr. Hakainde Hichilema has learned the hard way. He was playing all this. What do you see now? You see him emphasizing that is Chimpempe. You see him fraternizing with Vapente, because Vapente are the most vocal, you know? Because if we tufimwena fyomuli bu Satanist, also muntu wakoba tu amuno wa wina, uishisa kuchange kumweswa tini Satanist. So now he has changed that completely. He has a vice president who is a Pentecostal reverend. He has people in his thing who are Pentes. He himself is talking about religion and the Lord. Jonsen gabwacho luchelo na rerodine gamwaya pali wo yaba Hichilema mwalasa ngama scriptures mbwerekete every time. So this idea that no, Zambia is not a Christian nation is not a question that we need to even look at. Zambia is a Christian nation. It's always been like that. Zambians themselves, no,
there's a question here.
Prophecies. That's who they are.
There's a question here, Musha, from somebody who calls himself Mike T. Which church does the humble leader belong to?
Again, you see, we are focusing on the wrong question. He does not need to be a Christian. All he needs to do is to pretend. That's it. That's so we are a Christian nation in the sense that we usually like people who act to be Christian. So between a person who is actually acting and a person who is actually real, we like acting. I'm giving you an example. Things have turned out to be quite good for Mr. Hakainde Hichilema at the moment, not only when he was a Christian privately, but when he started acting out. Nama scriptures. So that question is no longer there. Have you heard anyone campaigning that HH is not a Christian? No. Because that has been
the PF are still saying he's not. They are saying he's not.
But no one is listening to that. No one is listening to that. Who is listening? No one. So Mr. Hichilema is going to take over power in the next 12 days and is going to re-emphasize the same thing. So our Christian nation is a Christian nation by declaration. This is something that we want. This is what we aspire for. It does not change anything in Zambia. It does not make Zambia better. No, it doesn't. It does not help with making better laws in Zambia, because the Bible in Zambia is not a source of Zambian law. Christianity is not a source of Zambian law in Zambia. This is very important to know. Even if we say that we are a Christian nation, the Bible is not a source of Zambian law. I think we are losing it here.
I think let's make progress here. Let's make progress. We have dealt a lot with the Christian because this has been used a lot with the churches pretending. We've had people going to church every day because they want to pretend to be seen to be Christians. Now we have a lot of people coming in. We are now reached a point where we've seen where can we mute everybody, Munsha? Can we mute everybody? If you're coming in, mute yourself, please. Roy, can you mute yourself, please? Royson, can you mute yourself so that we don't have a feedback? Okay, thank you very much. So we have muted him. Yeah, so we have seen where the PF is coming from, how Etika came in, the issue of certain problems. Now the Christian, now let's hear the views so far, what we have discussed. Remember, our viewers, Garin Kombo can come in at any time to tell us what he thinks about what is happening. So, Musha, let's get the first comments.
General, before other people come in, I think just like I keep saying, and just like I said actually, that I'm having my exams, I'm starting my exams today. So I'm asking if I can be excused so that I prepare for my exams at 11:30.
Oh, we wish you all the best, Jeremy. Are you going to join us later on? Because this is going to be a 6 to 6 hour viewers. We will only break at 3 o'clock when we're joining the UPND rally. So we would like to say thank you so much to Jeremy for your contribution. And I didn't know that you were PF, you were wearing ECL's jumper. And this is very, very interesting. Thank you so much for that. Please take your break and you'll join us anytime when you come back. And to the viewers who are listening us from all everywhere, the link is there. It's working. Our people are able to get in now. Let's go to...
Genlo. A quick one, Genlo.
Is that Wiseman?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Wiseman.
Thank you. I'm at the UPND Secretariat right now. We are coming in the Lima. I've got a lot of officials here who would like to comment about. I've got John Mwenda, who was a contender for Tutu Nguruve. I've got the mayor, who's Gary Domingo as well. I've got the provincial chairman for Kabwe Central as well. And I'm having the lady who is contending against Tutu Nguruve. So I would like if you can give me time to give them chance to speak to TVBAKWETU, then I'll try to bring them on.
Okay, so what we should do is that because we didn't want to lose the thought which we've had, so I would like to start with the provincial chairman, Munsha. What do you think? We're live at the secretariat, at the UPND secretariat, and there are a number of officials there who would like to update us about what's happening. I was thinking probably we give 2 minutes or 3 minutes to the Tutu Nguruve's friend who's running against Tutu Nguruve to tell us what the situation is. And I think let's link it to the violence. What is the situation? Where is the candidate, Wiseman?
Okay, let me just align them. But as you can see, we are at the secretariat and all the teams are here. Let me just tell them to go to the office so that they can align themselves and they start giving each other a chance to speak.
Yeah, to our colleagues who are already in the waiting room, please, can you give us a few minutes? Let's get this update from the secretariat, Munsha, and we can then continue with the discussion. We still have a long way to go. Remember, this is a 6 to 6. And remember, there will be so many people coming in. So, Wiseman, are you ready with the candidate for Kabwe Central?
Okay, Comrade Musha, as I'm trying to call our chairman, this is Don Mwenda, who was the contender for Tutu Nguruve. Now he has been replaced with the Madame Tuzosa Piri. So I would like him to start as I'm calling our chairman.
What do you mean the contender?
This was the one who was supposed to stand at Kawe Central. Now we have replaced him with the woman, Madam Pili. As I'm trying to call her, I would like him to start.
Okay.
Wiseman. Yeah, Wiseman ulensekecha. Wiseman adenda wana karimati at we've replaced him. What they just decided that Alex replaced. Don Wenda, how are you doing?
I'm okay, comrade. How are you?
Very well. So I do see you a lot. So I'm familiar with some of the things that you do. Keep it up, okay?
I'm humbled. I'm humbled.
Today we have 6 to 6. So here for me it's very late. It's about past midnight, close to 01. And here I am because we promised our viewers that we'll be on here from 6 to 6. You've met General Chipakupaku, have you?
Yes. I've also followed him closely, and I know him. How are you, sir?
I'm fine.
What do you call this, Don?
That's a watermelon.
That's a Munjanjata. That's a Munjanjata.
This is Chimjajati. This is Chimjajati. Make sure that you have some today, okay?
I will get one for myself.
I was going to bite one here, but it's bad manners for a presenter. Aleria Chimjajati on live TV. So, General, we have our guest there. Please say hello to Don and carry on.
Don, good morning from Scotland. This is 7:42 in Scotland. I know it's 8:42 in Zambia. So tell us about Kabwe. What is happening? We are looking at the leadership of Mr. Lungu and the PF. We are also looking at the issue of last night. We're looking at the violence, and we've got 12 days to go before the elections. What do you think is happening in Kabwe?
The mood in Kabwe is quite agitated, in the sense that people are ready and anxiously waiting to vote for the United Party for National Development. I think everyone is talking about change. Yeah, it might not be the entire Kabwe's population, but majority are talking about change, and this is based on the fake promises that the PF made prior to the 2016 elections, that they failed to deliver. An example I'll give you is the issue of the Mulungushi textiles, where the PF said Mulungushi textiles will be opened. They started making pronouncements as early as 2019. By October 2019, Mulungushi textiles will be opened, and these pronouncements have been on and off, and of which one of the pronouncements that I condemned and challenged the PF leadership to say, if you are serious with opening Mulungushi textiles, whoever you're going to employ, let them be employed on a permanent basis, and let the terms of their contracts be, at least let there be a clause where pension should be added to their terms of contracts. And I was arrested for saying that. That should have been last year in July when I was arrested, just to denounce that pronouncement that the government made to say Mulungushi textiles will be open. This time around, I think 2 weeks ago, we saw it on the news where government was saying, I don't know how many million has been pumped in for the reopening of Mulungushi textiles, but unfortunately enough, till now, Mulungushi textiles is not open. So people, especially Kabwe residents are very much wide awake, and they have chosen to stand their ground in ensuring that PF leaves office. We have an MP that has lamentably failed. In fact, both MPs, both from Kabwe Central and Wacha, they've literally failed. Our council here, we had prior to the 2021 elections, we had 27 wards, but after the delimitation exercise, we now have 29 wards. And with the 27 wards, all councillors that we had were PF, the mayor was PF, 2 MPs were PF, plus the DC, plus the same provincial minister who's also an MP. Were PF, but they literally did nothing for Kabwe residents. They don't even have a single thing that they can point at, apart from a lying white elephant right opposite the mall, which is an intracity bus terminus, which was stored due to their infights as PF. So for me, what I'll just say is Kabwe is ready for change. People are ready for change, because even when you just look at the demand of our material in Kabwe, it cannot be compared to 2016. Today, people are freely moving in Regalia in Kabwe. Today, people can walk in any place in Kabwe, in Regalia, and no one will attack us, because We've got the numbers.
So are you really just confirming that 12 days from now, Tutu Angulue will be defeated by Mrs. Piri?
I can confidently say that. As Wiseman in his introduction, as he put it, I was amongst the aspiring candidates for the Kabwe Central seat prior to adoptions. And when adoptions came, Mrs. Piri was adopted, and I wasn't. And maybe for your own information, I'm the only surviving aspirant in the entire district that has chosen to remain with the party after the adoption process. All my colleagues that were aspiring with us from Wacha constituency defected the PF after they were not adopted. But I've chosen to put my weight behind Mrs. Piri to ensure that we check out Tutu Angulube, because truth be told, we can't have another 5 years of Tutu Angulube. I don't know what it would be like, because if you've noticed, I think the time they had what I don't know, whatever they had, but I think it should have been a virtual conference or something when he was harassing that police officer. So now imagine another 5 years of Tutu Angulube. What would be of our law enforcement officers? Who's going to get respect from him if he can't respect anyone now? So for me, I'm very much solidly behind Mrs. Piri, because I believe it's not about Don. It's not about Mrs. Piri. It's not about the UPND. It's not about Haggai Nation, but it's about the people of Zambia. It's about Zambia. We're just trying to liberate ourselves from the hands or the jaws of these few selfish individuals I would call Kelenkas or Mwankoles, per se. Our mayoral candidate calls them Sakalanyongos. I think these are the people we're trying to liberate ourselves from. So
is Mrs. Piri there? I'm a cowboy boy. I was brought up in Zambezi Avenue in Cowboy, and I'm a cowboy boy. Is Mrs. Piri there?
I have a surprise for you. She's here with me.
Mrs. Piri, good morning.
Yes, how are you?
Young man, can you give Mrs. Piri the chance? We want to ask her a few questions.
Yes.
Mrs. Piri, Mulibwanji, Mulishani, Mkwai, and greetings from Scotland. This is TVBAKWETU TV. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. We are campaigning. We are on the ground. We are going to win. We are winning. We are winning.
Go ahead, Mrs. Piri.
Yes. Those are some few hitches. Our opponents, they're using all sorts of tricks to make sure they win, but they won't win because we're on the ground. You can imagine. You can imagine where, through desperation, somebody went to fish out people from the nearby constituencies in Chisamba constituents, Kapiri constituents, just to make sure they have support where people do not know them. But we are reaching out to those people. And the people are aware now. Yes.
Can you move a bit to the left? We want your face on the camera, or a bit backwards. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay,
That's better. That's better.
Thank you.
Now, Mrs. Piri, what we want our viewers to know is to know you. What is your background? Who's Mrs. Piri?
Okay. I'm Chrysosta Halwindi Piri, standing as an MP, Kabwe Central constituency. Yeah, I think I came into Kabwe in 1995. After graduating as a nurse, I served in the government for 3 years. After serving government for 3 years, I went on voluntary separation. And then I started doing business from 1997. Up to now, I'm a business lady, and I've done my degree in business administration and entrepreneurship. Right now, I'm doing my master's with Mulungushi University. I joined the politics in 2011. I stood as the councillor in my ward, Highridge, and unfortunately, that time I did not make it. But now I've come in now standing as an MP, Kabwe Central constituency. I've been in UPND since 2012. That's briefly who I am. I'm married with 5 children.
You're a businesswoman. What type of business are you involved in?
Yeah, mainly I am in construction. I do road construction, buildings, and supplying. And also I'm a farmer.
You are a farmer. And
yes.
You are doing your master's at Mulungushi.
Yes.
I remember going to Mulungushi many years ago when it was a President Citizenship College. We were among
Yes.
the first students
Yes.
many years ago. I went to do
Yes.
my political science there many years ago. So
Sure.
what are the problems in Kabwe? By the way, I was brought up in Kabwe.
Yes.
My sister used to live in High Ridge. I've got a sister in I used to live in Zambezi. I've got a sister who used, along Mkushi Road. What are the problems of Kabwe Central?
Yes, the main problems of Kabwe are unemployment, and roads are in a bad state. And unfortunately, during the time of campaign, that's when the current government came on board wanting to do here and there, but they have not managed because they are doing in a hurry. And so roads, let me say, they have been tempered too. The base has been tempered. There are no drainages, meaning when the rain comes, I'm telling you, we are not going to have any passable roads in Kabwe. Water, also in many shanty compounds, there's no piped water. People draw water from the wells, and also they have got pit latrines, meaning during the rainstorm especially, fecal matter can even be mixing up. That's why we have a lot of diseases in the shanty compounds. And when you go to the clinics, there, find most of the time there are no medicines. The clinics, there are no maternity wings. I have an example where I think last week a woman delivered near a sewage, went to a newly constructed mini hospital in Katondo, and unfortunately there was not even a medical personnel at night to attend to them. The woman delivered was detained, go to the nearby clinic, and delivered near a sewage. They even sent a message on to me, which is a pathetic. Youth, there is no employment. Most of the children have done teaching, have done nursing. They're just in their homes. They're not doing anything. They're just engaging in drinking alcohol. They're not doing anything. There's no employment for the youth. Youth are not, nurtured. They are not taught skills. They are not being empowered. When it comes to empowerment, find that even women, sometimes they are given 2 chickens each person. What can 2 chickens do to empower some? That is not empowerment. That is not empowerment. So the biggest problem, what I've seen is UPF, they like, making people vulnerable. So at the end of the day, they go, they start dangling the carrots. So because people are hungry, they just succumb to that. But now people are thinking now they've woken up from the slumber that they cannot continue with this. So there are a lot of challenges. I can tell you, even road, we talked about the Mkonchi Road. I'm telling you, Mkonchi Road is leading to the farm block, but the road is in a deplorable state. It's pathetic. So there are many challenges. For many years, Kabwe Central constituency has been lacking behind in terms of development. So we need to change. Thank you so much.
How many voters are registered in Kabwe Central?
We have about 66,490 voters.
Okay, and
yes.
and you are very confident that you are going to win, and you know the problems. The issue of schools, you have not mentioned anything about the schools, Mrs. Piri. Yes. I am a Kabwe boy. I know that there's a farming Nkrumah there. How many secondary schools have you got, and how many primary schools, including Katondo?
Yeah, we have got so many primary schools. We have got there is in the Katondo area. I'll say that many people, they do go to Kasanda Marombe. Yes, they do go to. There's a secondary. There's a primary school right in Katondo primary school there. So there are very few compared to the population that is there. We need more primary schools, yes, and we need to upgrade these schools to secondary schools because they are very few. And if you want nearby, surrounding schools, surrounding community, around the farms, they do go to town for the secondary school, so they are congested. We need to make sure that we increase even the capacity of schools, the number of classrooms, and also to upgrade the primary schools that we have. We have also in Niwaya, which we call Gombe, but these are small, the capacity not there. It's their primary school that is in Niwaya. We have, for example, in Katondo, what you said, we only have, let me say, 2. We can think these are primary schools, but we need to upgrade them. And we need to build more schools, even in surrounding areas, like in the outskirts of Kabwe. So that those people around the farming area around there, they've got secondary schools, children do not go to town. Because when they come to town, there's no accommodation. They just rent in the shanty compound where they fall play, girls, they fall pregnant, which is not good. So we need to put more effort in it.
Okay. Mrs. Piri, are you still there? Wow. I really wanted to ask her a question. There's a question from David Lungu to find out what the situation with lead is. And I also wanted her number. I can't get her number so that if okay, Mrs. Piri, are you back? Are you able to speak? Can you hear me now? Mrs. Piri? Musha, I think we have lost Mrs. Piri. I really wanted to ask her number.
Hello.
Yeah, can I speak to Mrs. Piri, please?
Okay, the network was bad.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mrs. Piri, there is a question here. What is the situation with the problem of lead in Kabwe? It's a question from David Lung, one of our viewers.
Okay, the situation is very bad because Kabwe is very infested with with lead. But the problem we have are the roads again. The roads are bad, they are dusty. Most of the homes you find that on the roofs and even in their houses, there's a lot of dust in their houses, meaning that now it is even worse off. If the roads were okay, we'd say at least, and if the homes were green, so there was grass, we say maybe we would have controlled. But the problem is that the roads are bad to start with. When the vehicles are passing, most homes, they are just dusty inside, everywhere. So the situation is very bad and it needs urgent attention. You know, we have got so many children who are affected with lead. So it is very bad. One contributing factor is because I've said the roads are bad. So the second one is that there is no water people to grow grass around the house. They have got no plenty of water where they can grow grass. So at least we minimize the dust. So we know that money was released to deal with the issue of lead at the council, but nothing much has been done on the ground to make sure that the problem of lead is solved.
Mr. Musha, it's over to you to ask the last question and probably ask for one number.
Yes, congratulations, Mrs. Piri. And so we hope that you do very well in the next 11 days.
Thank you.
So what are some of the things that your campaign needs?
Come again?
What are some of the things that your campaign needs to help you out?
I think the most important thing that you would ask from you is the message to people, because now what our opponents are trying to come up with, they are warning, I will send something for you. They are cheating people that they will be coming there to see who they are going to vote for. So most people, sometimes around the area, they are being cheated. The information, they'll be coming as there. They are told the voter's card number has a number and the ballot paper, those numbers will be the same. So when they'll be voting there, they will know who they have voted for. So that message needs to reach out to people. It is very deceiving people. And the second one is that people are receiving 12.5 kg of mealie meal. They're receiving money at night, 20 kwacha, just who support from them. But that needs to be, that message, people need to be told that that cannot change the economy of Zambia. It is temporal, and in fact, it is I don't know how we would put it. It's not good at all. You cannot be buying people on a 12.5 kg of mealie meal, 750 pot of cooking oil, which is not good. So as you send the information to people, please, can we send the information for us that people should not foreplay of these things they're going to be giving them. Some people are deceived just on the issue of regalia. They are receiving wood, they're receiving t-shirts. They think, no, I can vote for this one because I've given this party. Even 2016, they received that material. But did it change the economy? It did not change. So we need to reach out to people to tell them this information. And also some are being deceived because like my opponent, I cannot hide. He's telling people, okay, vote for Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, but as an MP, just retain me. No, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema has got his team that he has put in place. And we need to vote for his people that he has put in place in these positions. And bringing in somebody again who failed for.
Musha, before we lose Mrs. Piri, I think let's ask for her number so that we can share it with her. If she accepts that, we share it with our members. So those who want to support Mrs. Piri can please send her whatever you can. That's what we've been doing with our candidates. If you can send her £100, that's fine. If you can send her 100 kwacha, that's fine. if you can send her a chicken to go and feed some of the voters, that would be fantastic. So, Mrs. Piri, are you still there?
I think she's gone. General, we've been trying to sensitize our viewers around the country that it is a lie when a politician tells you that there will be a camera inside the elections booth. And so we are not only asking for more people to show up on the election day, but we've got to deal with this lie that there will be cameras. And there are several people that have been deceived. Some others have been told that at Bakabaloa.
Yeah.
Atina abapando bwango bwako bati bubwanga kuti bwamona omuntu nga voted PF. That is so not true. And so we've got to continue sensitizing our people that no, it is not just true. It is a lie. There will be no camera there. There is no link between a voter's card and a ballot, and people should eat and eat money from these kelenkas. You know, they should eat from these kelenkas and vote with their conscience on the election day.
What is funny, Musha, is to hear that Tutu Angulube is telling say they should vote for Tutu Angulube, but vote for HH. That's very interesting. Now,
no. I think,
Mrs. Piri, if we ask some of our viewers to help you, what would you need?
What I would need is the financial support, because the last 2 weeks is very crucial. We need a lot of, we need fuel to reach us. As I've told you that our counterpart even went as far as the neighboring constituencies to register voters, and that's where according to him, he thinks that's where his strength is. So we need to book a lot of transport, fuel to make sure we reach out to people, we educate them that how should they come and vote for a person who is not going to bring development to their area. And they cannot decide on our behalf as people of Kabwe Central constituency. We cannot block them to come and vote because we need their vote for our president, Mr. Kainde Hichilema. So we need to reach out to them so that they come and vote, support and support. We need the vote for our president. So we need to book a lot of vehicles to reach out to them, even to ferry them, because it's far places. We cannot deny them to vote since the mistake is already done. So financial support is very crucial in this time. And you have a lot of people on voter protection. We will have a lot of youth that will be surveying this area. They will need to support them. At the end of the day, they need transport, they need to eat. So I think that's what I can appeal for.
Now, Mr. Piri, if we were to ask people, there is a law in the UK that we can't give people your number without you giving us the authority, so that we can give if you give us the authority, we can ask them to send you whatever they have to try and meet your transport, to try and feed your polling agents, to try and push the last two weeks. Would you allow us to use your number?
No problem. I can allow you. You can use it.
Okay. What is your number? Is it a WhatsApp number?
Yes, it's on WhatsApp.
And is it on MTN or Airtel?
It's the Airtel.
Okay, what is the number?
+260.
Yeah.
977.
Yeah.
17.
Yeah.
80.
Yeah.
55.
55. Okay, so
yes.
It's +260 977
yes.
17 80
yes.
555.
Yes.
So please, our viewers, we have got 12 days, 11 days to help Mrs. Piri. If you want to help Mrs. Piri so that we beat, we call him Mungulu at TVBAKWETU. If you want to beat Tutu Angulube, help Mrs. Piri to win. There's still regalia required, there's still food required, there's still transport required. And Mrs. Piri, if there was no COVID, I would have been in Kabwe now to campaign with you, because that's my home. But we will ask our viewers to send you some money to try and help you. So please, when you see a phone ringing from a strange person ask them whether they are from TVBAKWETU. Some of them will just send you money. They will just send it by you said MTN.
That's Airtel.
Airtel, okay.
Yes, Airtel.
Yeah. So the last words, if there are any words you want to say, the last comment, Mrs. Piri, before we move on.
Yeah, I want to appeal to people of Kabwe Central constituency and Zambia at large that we are peaceful people as Zambians, and we do not want any disturbance during the day of election, and even during these last 12 days. They are very crucial. We want to campaign, we want to do clean campaign, violence-free campaigns. We do not want to disturb any Zambian, because this is the time when they have to make their decisive decision that's going to turn the economy around. Or even during the day of voting, we don't want any disturbance. We want people to be free, make their free decision. If they think they have voted, people will make their decision. If people are not happy with them, people will make their decision. Let them make their own decision. It is their right, it is their constitutional right to make their decision. And the people, they should know that they have got the power. No one should disturb them. They have to exercise their power now. Thank you so much. Go in numbers and vote. Wake up very in the morning, vote, and be at your home. Stay peaceful. Even if you see that there will be a lot of armored trucks, there will be people maybe with guns around. Don't be disturbed. It is your time. Go and vote. No one should push you around. When you're inside there, when you see that you have made a mistake, you are free to tell the staff there that I've made a mistake. Give me another ballot paper, and make sure you check behind your ballot paper that they are stamped. Every ballot paper should be stamped. We do not want to lose any ballot paper. And the people of Zambia, let us help those people who have never voted before to teach them, teach your neighbors how to vote correctly. We do not want to lose any paper. We do not want any spoiled ballot papers. And let us be watchful. There might be pseudo polling stations we do not know. Please inform the relevant authorities so that we do not want any rigging this time. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Piri. We really, really thank you for participating. You've got your friends who are candidates. Send them the number to come. They want to come to TVBAKWETU, and I would wish that somebody could call Mrs. Piri. Can you call Honorable Gary Kombo and tell him to say our viewers are waiting for him? Call him. Tell him to get out of bed. Our viewers are waiting for him. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Let me call him right now. Thank you so much.
Tell him to say our viewers are waiting for him. There are a lot of complaints here. There is already a guy called Prince Dennis Muchindu saying we're not going anywhere. We're waiting for Honorable Kombo. So over to you, Musha.
All right. Thank you, Wiseman. Thank you for connecting us.
Okay. Comrade Musha, I'm still yet to put in another candidate who's standing on Water constituency. His name is Honorable Pes Chato. He was our former Commissioner General. And we have got, yes, our former Commissioner General is the one standing for Water constituency. His name is Honorable Pes Chato. And we have got another candidate, the Mayor, Gary Domingo. They are on standby as well to talk to TVBAKWETU as well.
This is fantastic. This is fantastic. So much for what you have done, young man. So who's first now? Is it Mr. Chato?
Yeah, Mr. Chato. I'm just here with Mr. Chato right now. Let me just let us just go on at least on a safe place so I can talk to you.
Okay, and you mind the sun because you're right on the background of the sun. So watch where the sun is. What we want to. So our viewers, we have another candidate from what is the name of the constituency again?
It's Bwacha.
Bwacha in Kabwe. And this is Mr. Chato. Mr. Chato was the Commissioner General of the Prisons Services. And I remember speaking to, chatting to him. So it would be nice for us to welcome him. Mr. Munsha, do you want to lead on this one?
Yes. Commissioner Chato, good morning.
Good morning, and how are you?
We are very happy that you could feature on TVBAKWETU today.
Thank you very much.
Yes, so we've seen very exciting things going on in Wacha, and your your announcement as a candidate for Bwacha and all that. What led you to run in Bwacha?
Bwacha constituency, I think for a long time, they seem to have a leadership vacuum, and Bwacha constituency itself seems to be stuck in time. And therefore, the people of Bwacha constituency needed a leader who should inspire them to foster development without looking at any type of discrimination. And therefore, I came on board to answer the call from the people of Bwacha that they needed a leader who should have a visionary approach to how we can address some of the challenges people of Bwacha constituency are facing.
Now, you know my co-host, Mr. Norman Chipakupaku. I think you may have communicated.
Come again.
You may know, you may identify my co-host, Mr. Norman Chipakupaku. Can you see him on the screen?
Yes, good morning, Mr. Chipakupaku. How are you?
Good morning, Commissioner General. How are you, sir?
I'm okay, and you?
I'm very well. I remember chatting about your constituency when you were going through your primaries. I said, look, we will talk when you are adopted. So there you are. You are adopted, Commissioner. We want to give you the chance to be able to tell us more about Bwacha. First of all, General,
a quick one. General, a quick one.
Go ahead.
It seems the battery is not in favor of us. So I just want to enter the office so that we can plug on the power. Then we'll start talking to him while the phone is on chat, because I'm sure it may be off anytime soon.
Okay, fantastic. But can somebody at the secretariat phone Mr. Garinkombo? Because we're getting a lot of questions here. So Musha, so what do you think about the Kabwe Central lady?
Oh, very, very brilliant. I think she's in control of what is going on. She's very aware of the tricks of Mr. Tutu Angulube. She looks quite articulate. She's concerned about lead poisoning. She's concerned about dust. That dust and the combination of both dust and tarred roads and lead are a huge problem for Kabwe. I think she should definitely make a very good replacement of the former incumbent, you know, Mr. Tutu Angulu, because Mr. Tutu Angulu has only been quite destructive to Kabwe Central and to common sense. If there are any PF operatives that lack common sense, Tutu Angulu is #1 on that list. As far as I'm concerned.
Musha, we've got Kapi Malaya. He says, I've just sent Mrs. Piri 150 kwacha for her to buy a bag of mini meal for the campaign. So we just want to say to our viewer, Kapi, I don't know where you are, Kapi. Thank you so much for the 150 kwacha going to Mrs. Piri and for doing such a fantastic job. Any amount can do, our viewers. Whether 10 kwacha, whether $100, whether 1,000 pounds, give it to Mrs. Piri. Commissioner General, you're most welcome back.
Well, thank you very much.
I was saying, I remember you as Commissioner General, and I think you took over from my friend. There was a certain gentleman I used to work with who was his Commissioner General before you came in. Can you remember the names of the previous Commissioner Generals?
Yeah, I took over the service when from the late Gibinawa, may he so rest in peace. After the late Gibinawa passed on, the service was headed by a woman temporarily, Madame Nalupia. She also died in office. May her so rest in peace. And therefore, after that, almost 1 year, 1 year, 6 months, that's when I took over the service.
Before those, there was another Commissioner General before that.
Before that, we joined the service when the prison service was headed by Mr. Philip Sinyangwe. Then after Mr. Philip Sinyangwe, Mr. Jethro Kalaluka Mumbua took over. Then after Mr. Jethro Kalaluka Mumbua, the late Mr. Gibinawa took over the service. Then Madame Nalupia acted as a commissioner. Then unfortunately, she died in office. Then thereafter, I was appointed as the head of the correctional service. That was, I think, in the when President Rupia Banda was the president of the Republic of Zambia.
You've mentioned Jethro Mumbua, because that was my very close friend. We trained with Mumbua. I trained with Mumbua, and until he was appointed commissioner. I was in the army myself. Mumbua was in the prison service. Now, Commissioner, I know that you were not a politician. When did you join UPND?
I joined UPND when I retired from the correctional service. You may be aware that almost 3 years I've been in retirement. After I served as the head of the correctional service for 8 years and 3 months. I joined the UPND. I think I believed in the values and aspiration of the UPND, where each Zambian should be given equal opportunities to ensure that they realize their full potential.
How big is Wacha? How many wards do you have in Wacha? And how many voters do you have?
Wacha constituency has 15 wards, both rural and urban wards. In total, we have at least 51,000 voters. Our biggest number of voters are in Wacha constituency, which has at least 6,000 voters. But cumulatively, Makululu compound has 4 wards. And the 4 wards give us a total voters population of 16,000 voters in Makululu compound. It is composed of Zambezi, Chilalila, Momba, and Makululu ward itself.
Okay, is Koima Barracks part of your constituency?
No, unfortunately, it is not. That is in Kabwe Central. As we have, in terms of the defense and security, we have ZNS, the ZNS training school. Then we have the Mkobeko group of prisons as part of our voters in the security services and the defense.
Okay, force. not Chindwin Barracks, which is the 2nd Battalion, the 3rd Battalion. Is the Chindwin Barracks is not part of your constituency?
No, it's in Kabwe Central.
Okay, who's defending Wacha on behalf of PF?
We have Sidney Mushanga.
Oh, Sidney Mushanga. He was the minister, am I right?
Yeah, he was the minister for Central Province and MP for Wacha constituency, and he's been there for 10 years. He's seeking another mandate for which we are terming as a 3rd term.
Oh, he's seeking the 3rd term. Now, Mr. Commissioner General, before I hand over to Musha, what are the issues of Wacha? Because Kabwe in general, there are certain things about Kabwe which everybody knows. It was a mining town, everything is gone, and Mulungushi Textiles, they've announced Mulungushi Textile reopening more than 3-4 times. What are the issues with your constituency?
The biggest issue in my constituency is high levels of unemployment. And if you have high levels of unemployment, especially amongst the youth, you find that the youths are involved in some antisocial behavior like alcohol and drug abuse. Then we also have a lead problem in Makululu compound. Makululu compound as well as Mutwewan Sofu. We had a project there which hasn't yet yielded a lot of positive results in terms of improving the environment as far as addressing the issue of lead pollution in Makululu compound. And coupled with that, Makululu compound has inadequate water supply points. A case in point in Chilalila, you find that people draw water from a broken pipe, and issues to do with the sanitation generally in our compound, issues to do with poor drainages, issues to do with poor roads, issues to do with the lack of social amenities, especially a case in point is Makululu itself. You find that as part of efforts in mitigating the effects of lead in our children, you find that there are no play parks where our children are supposed to play from. Play parks which are well watered, play parks with lawns, so that as our children enjoy the right to play. They are not exposed to dust, to an environment that is polluted with lead. And if you go in our rural wards like Kangomba, like Chinyanja, like Muo West, you find that services to do with agriculture productions are not there. There are no deep tanks to talk about. There are no feeder loads to talk about. So you find that our farmers find a lot of challenges. You also find that some schools in our rural areas, rural wards, they don't have electricity. A case in point is it's a school in Kalwelwe, whereby you find that our pupils are supposed to undergo computer lessons, but there is no electricity, a sign that our pupils are not given adequate education services. Issues of lack of medicines in our hospitals and the health posts are issues that are affecting almost all the people of Wacha constituency. And they complain a lot that whenever they go for treatment, they are just given prescriptions. Then we also have challenges with our mothers when they are going to our hospitals for maternity services, especially when at the point when they are giving birth. They are told to come with some commodities which the hospitals are supposed to provide. Some of the issues they are told to come with are disinfectants and some gloves, which is so disheartening, because these are the people who don't have access to employment, and they are told to provide such issues. So it's a general challenge that our people are facing.
Thank you so much. Over to you, Musha.
Yes, Commissioner General, I just want to highlight one of the issues that that we've been facing, and regarding the management of the correction service. Now, I know that you would much rather stay away from criticizing your successor, but we are noticing something unusual in the way the correction service is being run. And I need you to know that we are concerned, and we see, particularly the politicization of this security wing. We are concerned. What do you say about that?
I'm equally concerned. I think even all well-meaning Zambians should be concerned, as well as the international community. I'm saying so because the correctional service, if you look at what is provided in the Constitution, they are supposed to be non-partisan. But there is evidence that the correctional service has been politicized, and I think the problem is with the head of the correctional service.
Yes, I think we've lost we've lost Honorable Chato there.
Yeah, who seems not to understand his role and mandate as contained in the Constitution of.
Yeah, I think our viewers, we have a problem with the network, but we will still try and conclude with Commissioner General Chato, and if he comes back, we will continue. But meanwhile, we are still pushing for Honorable Gary Nkombo to come on. I think we're getting so many questions. Mr. Nkombo, if wherever you are, if you have finished your breakfast, please come live here. People want you. And those who are at the Secretariat, can you phone Mr. Nkombo, please? People have been waiting for him since last night. So Commissioner Chato, are you back now?
I'm back online.
Yeah, you were saying something. You were saying something about the current Commissioner General not behaving well, behaving like, I think, in my view, is behaving like a politician.
Yes, he is. I'll give you a classical example. Not long ago, he was he was enticing our councillors to join the correctional service, and so that they abandon their noble cause for ensuring that they are candidates for the United Party for National Development. And that was a very unfortunate situation. And that wasn't only the only case where the Commissioner General has done such move. In Munyama, if you go into history, there was a by-election that was caused when one of our councillors resigned. And this councillor was offered a job in the correctional service, and is still in the correctional service. And is a person they've been working hand in hand to ensure that they destabilize the United Party for National Development. And further, if you saw the statement he issued in Monze, when they were commissioning housing units for the officers of the rank and file of the correctional service, he issued a statement which was political. In my opinion, he wasn't supposed to issue a statement in that context as far as the right of prisoners to vote. He said that members of the opposition won't be allowed to have access to the correctional service. But as we are saying, no, this is not the Electoral Commission of Zambia. Such a statement was supposed to be issued by the Electoral Commission of Zambia. The only thing he was supposed to do is to ensure that he lobbies with the government so that they put in place regulation that will ensure that we conduct elections in correctional centers in a fair and in a fair manner, so that every political party in the Republic of Zambia have access to our inmates. They have access to our officers, so that we sell our manifestos to those electorates. So it is unfortunate, and in a normal country, Commissioner General was supposed to be disciplined for showing a partisan stance.
Yeah. No, we definitely agree, and please be assured that we as citizens do notice the obvious partisanship of this current Commissioner General, and we find it completely unacceptable and completely unjustified. Now, Wacha constituency, does it border any rural areas? You already mentioned that, I believe.
Yes, I did. We have words like Kangomba. We have words like Chinyanja. We have words like Munyama. We have words like Muwo East and part of Muwo East. They are part of the rural population, rural areas of our words.
Okay. What are some of the needs that you have between now and election day? I know that there is a lot of misinformation, so we've got to push against misinformation, of course, and we are trying to do that on TVBAKWEtu. But what are the other needs that you have as a candidate?
I think what we need first and foremost is an environment where we conduct our campaigns in a free and fair manner. Then I think we need a lot of logistical support, because our wards are quite many, 15 of them, and the distances are quite vast. So we need a lot of logistical support. We need a lot of regalia. There's demand apparently for the UPND party regalia. Everywhere we go, people are asking for a regalia to the extent that we cannot cope with the demand. I think it's a sign that UPND is now ready to ensure that it is ushered in as the next government of the Republic of Zambia.
All right. Okay. So in terms of regalia and all those contributions, how can people reach you?
They can get in touch with me on 0977 84 2694. I repeat, 0977 84 2694. My email address is pkchato@yahoo.
So let's just do the number first. 097-7842694.
Yes, please.
And what name is on the number?
It's Percy Chato.
I'm going to share that. And we're going to let our viewers know that we're going to let our viewers know that instead, some of our viewers want our candidates to get in touch with them. No, it's you as a person who wants to contribute to a campaign to get in touch with the candidates. Candidates are busy. They are all over in Nyanja ward. Are you calling it Nyanja ward?
Chinyanja ward.
Chinyanja ward. In Chinyanja ward, very far. So don't wait for them to contact you. Ni mweba fuiro kubachisa contact. Nganamkwata akanono akakubatumina. Batumineni apapene ilio tamulala bako. Not mwala bako mwaibala. Elo nomba mwala bako. No. Just now, go ahead and send something to Honorable Percy Chato so that it can help him in the next 11 days. Thank you very much, Honorable. We really appreciate you coming and honoring our sudden invitation to come on TVBAKWETU. Of course, as a TV station on Facebook, we have Wiseman, who is a very regular contributor. And I can see already that you have mentored him very, very well. And he's an upcoming significant politician. So keep it up.
Thank you very much. And we wish to thank our would-be sponsors in anticipation that we are looking forward to your support. Together, we shall deliver change on 4th August. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner General. Kabwe is my home. I want Kabwe to be taken back from PF because I grew up in Kabwe. I've got relatives in Kabwe. I was, so that is my home because I'm from Mumba, but Kabwe is my home. I grew up in Zambezi Avenue. So I want Kabwe to be taken back. So I wish you all the best. 12 days to go, and I hope that's going to be very peaceful. And to our viewers, please give Commissioner General Percy Chato some support, whether it's £200, whether $200, whether 200 kwacha, whether it's a chicken, whether it's a bag of mini meal, take it to him so that he can help feed his foot soldiers. I wish you all the best, Commissioner Chato, and I hope that you'll be telling us the report that you've won, and we'll be celebrating with you on TVBAKWETU. And say thank you so much to the young man Wiseman and your provincial chairman, who has been very, very, very active, Mr. Chifita. And is Domingo around?
Yes, he is. He is definitely going to come on air as well. And
okay.
Thank you very much. And I wish to assure you that we are delivering Kabwe to UPND come 4th August. The signs are there, and they will continue pushing. Our motto is that we'll let them have their say, but we shall have our way, and we shall definitely deliver on 12th August.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Percy Chato. Musha, we bring in the mayor of Kabwe, Domingo himself.
Yes.
Okay, General, let me just try to call him. He's outside. I think
He's outside.
I'll come back.
Thank you so much. Meanwhile, Musha, there you go. You've got two candidates from Kabwe.
This is a miracle, General, and it's due to your hard work and the hard work of our team, including Wiseman, who managed to get all these put together. This is amazing. I think right here on the 6 to 6 marathon presentation from TVBAKWETU, our listeners have held steady for the past. My number right now is showing at over 896, close to 900 across all the 5 platforms. For a Sunday, this is not bad at all, and the numbers have been holding steady because people are eager to learn about their candidates and see what happens. your candidates, if anything. I shouldn't even be saying candidates as if they are my candidates. General, this is not fair. Bring me, you keep bringing UPND candidates here. I also want you to bring NDC candidates so that we balance up the equation.
We will bring the NDC candidates. We can bring the PF candidates. If you want to, anybody who's in Kawe, tell Tutu Angurube to come here. We want to ask him questions. Let Tutu Angurube come here. We'll ask him very nice questions. Musha, people are saying, don't call this 6 to 6. They are saying, call it 6 to 6 fucker pressure. That's what they're saying.
I can't even see the pressure. Where is the pressure, General? Maybe you're applying some pressure. Are you adding some pressure?
I don't know, Musha. I think this is going to be 6 to 6 fucker pressure. That is the slogan for this presentation. I've got a lot of people. One of them is the Kepi Mulaya again. He has sent Pesi Chato 100 kwacha. Thank you so much, Kepi. I don't know where you are, Kepi. Why don't you come live, Kepi, if you are not afraid of, just come live, get the link and tell us to say, tell us that you have donated 100 kwacha to Mr. Pesi as well. And somebody saying, General, Kemizi Mulumbwa Ephraim is saying, General knows Zambia very well. I'm a Zambian. What's wrong with you, Kemizi?
Our General, because everywhere it's your hometown. Chipata is your hometown. Mufulira, I can outline for you how many hometowns you have, General.
No,
Mufulira is your hometown. Kabwe is your hometown. Chipata is your hometown. Mumbwa is your hometown. For me, my hometowns are very limited. It's Milenge, my ancestral home, and Chiwempala. Now, which Chipata as a child? And now which Chipata in? No.
Kumpezeni, that's your home. Yeah, Musha, I've never hidden that I'm from Mumbwa, but I grew up in Butondo. I was recruited by the army from Butondo.
Oh, really? Then, okay.
Yes, I was in Butondo in Mfulira. That's when I joined the army, 1971. And then I was trained in Kabwe, and then I was sent to Chipata. So Chipata was my home. I've been there for years and years, but I've traveled everywhere.
Right.
Bwana Domingo, mulishani bakalam.
Yankwai mwa Shimukend.
Yeah, mkwai mwa bombeni wa Domingo.
Nawe ukubomba tulesha watata.
Ni wewe wa meya wa Domingo. Welcome to TVBAKWETU. My name is Chupakupaku. I've spoken to you, and my co-presenter is called Mr. Munsha. Is going to be Dr. Munsha very soon. He's in Canada.
It's a pleasure. Good morning to you all.
Yeah, good morning. Nice to see you, and congratulations on your campaign. We are hearing very good things so far.
Thank you so much. But that is because of the teamwork we have here in Kabwe. We're working very well as a team. So you should praise everybody on the UPND team here in Kabwe for the hard work they're putting in to make sure that we cross the line on the 12th of August, to make sure that Hakainde Chidema is our president.
Okay, that's nice. Now, Mr. Chipakupaku is actually part of your party, but I'm not. So I'm NDC in actual fact. And I've seen the question here. Can I just clarify, is this a UPND channel? No, this is not a UPND channel. I'm NDC. And General Chipakupaku is UPND. But we are very excited that you could come, Mr. Domingo, to tell us a little bit about your candidacy, about your priorities for Kabwe, about your vision for Kabwe. What do you want to achieve in Kabwe?
Thank you very much. I was born here, right here in Kabwe, grew up in Kabwe. Did my primary education here and part of my secondary education here in Kabwe High School, which is Kabwe Secondary actually in the old days. Proceeded to finish off my high school in Zimbabwe at Gifford High School in Bulawayo. And I came back home, studied tourism. And I was one of those lucky young men to be employed the day I wrote my last exam. And I joined British Airways, where I worked for quite a number of years. And after that, I decided to to go into business on my own, which I still do until today. I'm involved in a lot of community work with the youth. I'm a football administrator. I've run a lot of football teams and currently just left Kabwe Warriors because of politics. I was the technical director. And yeah, so the youth is at my heart most of the time, and we hope we can create employment at the end of the day. Me standing as a mayor in Kabwe has, in the beginning, was not my forte. I was not interested in standing, to be very honest. But the people in the community asked me to stand. And it took me some time before I made a decision. I only made a decision in March of this year to stand as mayor. But Kabwe is my home. We've seen Kabwe at the greatest, up with the time during Wanawasa and Rupiah Band in the early years of Michael Sata. And unfortunately, it has come to a stagnation where service delivery is not delivered to the communities. This is the reason why we wanted to stand. I mean, at the moment, our municipal council is a sham. We have got dirty streets. I'm sure when people pass through Kabwe, they only call it a Sunda station. And Kabwe being at the crest and at the hub of the whole of Zambia, you know, the most central part of Zambia. And we look a total mess. I mean, at the end of the day, we actually need to bring service delivery. Comrades, I'm sorry, I've just been informed by my superiors here at the provincial office that our principal is about to arrive in Kabwe. Is it possible for us to join you a bit later?
Yes, we are.
Same channel. Yeah.
Yes, we are aware.
Apologies, and then I will give you my vision for the next 5 years as the mayoral candidate for Kabwe. But thank you so much. But we shall join you in a couple of hours if that's okay.
Yes, because we are running this for 6 to 6, so we look forward to seeing you. All the best, and say hello to the principal.
We will. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. God's blessings to you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, comrade, I think we'll bring our other officials when we are done.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
All the best.
Thank you. Wow. Musha Domingo, Zambia Airways, tourist specialist, and he calls Kabwe, people call Kabwe Sunda Station. That's my town being disgraced like that. Sunda Station, sure.
But what's wrong? What's wrong with that, though? I mean,
Kabwe is, I used to know Kabwe is a very clean town when I was, growing up.
But who says that Ukusunda is not clean?
No, Ukusunda is not a problem. If you can sunda in a clean toilet, you can stop and buy. There used to be a big restaurant there called Big Bite, something like that.
So
fine.
All that is needed, General, is to make sure that they make money out of Ukusunda. That's it. So the city council can begin charging pesunda. Ngawapitapo pakabwe atuwapasukira po walipira. That's okay. We are all human. Who says that humans don't, eka strength to akwata as humans, the ability ukusunda. Ukusunda sunda. Anyway, that's pretty interesting about Kabwe, and I hope that the gentleman is going to do something worthwhile with him being the mayor.
Yeah, I just hope that he will come back, because I think the HH is arriving in Kabwe anytime now. They are trying to connect with him. Musha, there's a question for you from our viewer called Katarina Mwanza. It says, Mr. Musha, which fact of the NDC do you belong to?
General, the NDC party is one. We only have one NDC. We don't have two factions. We don't have three factions. We only have one political party. And so it's going to come back together. It's going to come back strong, and we are focused on that. So we are not going to give in to all these speculations about which faction or anything like that. Yeah, so I'm NDC. That's it, General. I don't think I should go into which faction or anything like that. For now, General, we are focused on ensuring that we kick out this Kelenka government. I think that's what we need to do. After this Kelenka government is kicked out, I believe the NDC is going to proceed as one big political party, a party of consequence, and I'm very excited to be part of the NDC.
Yeah,
So,
I think to me it's very, very clear that the biggest task Zambians have in the next 12 days is to make up their mind and say PF must go. Because in my view, if 5 years of PF, that's the end of our country, to be like Zimbabwe and probably Western Zimbabwe.
right.
And we were discussing about what the problems of Mr. Lungu are. And one of them was we discovered that he pretends to be a Christian. But when he hates you, he will come down like a ton of bricks on you, and he will never forgive. He closed Post, he closed Prime TV, he is, he does hate. Now, the other issue, Musha, is corruption. Let's look at the issues of corruption since Mr. Lungu came into power. I think the first one is the fire tenders. The fire tenders, Musha, let's remind our viewers, they bought those fire tenders for a whopping $1 million for one piece.
Yeah.
Musha, that's theft.
Right.
Because whatever you do, whatever you say, a fire tender cannot be over $200,000. The most modern ones.
Yeah.
The question is, how did Zambia end up paying $1 million for a fire tender? And those fire tenders, to me, they looked like old fire tenders. They were not new.
Yeah.
What do you think really happened, Mush?
So here is the thing. The company that so these are not hidden things. This is public knowledge. There is a company that put in the tender and supplied rotten fire trucks at $1 million. A president is not expected to be super intelligent anywhere. No. A president is not expected to be super passionate. No. A president is not expected to be the most educated. At the very least, a president is supposed to safeguard resources. At the very least. And so when people tender to supply goods and services to your government, and then they bring rotten goods at $1 million as a president, it ought to move you. It ought to move you. In a home, the other time I was talking about what happened in Chiwempala as a child, when I was saying, "Bantu mamukushita tomato, gana buera na tomato ea fon kana, General. Na buera na tomato ea fon kana, and yet my aunt gave me 10 kwacha to buy tomato. Elo nabaletera tomato ea 1 kwacha. She would take me by the side to say, "Ntwala kwacha kushitisha tomato ea vola at 10 kwacha." Now, that is what happens in our homes. Why can't the same happen? Iwekateka, bakuletera, ama fire trucks, ayabola. At $1 million. Wasumina, no reaction, no comment. It's either walidya nabo. Baliaba ireshita ama fire trucks ayabola banobe echo taulebeka tira iyo pantu niweka teka kaide kuba tumabaka kuba swakisha bakapokola efyo tulefwa ya kateka furukula swakisha bakapokola kuli bakabwala ala bakelenka ba ireshita ama fire trucks at $1 million a piece. So number you tell us, you tell me, how can the Patriotic Front government live with itself when simple common sense, if it feel complicated, ama fire trucks no kuimwena fuenka twalimwenene twamona fuenka twamona fueko kwebati ayama fire trucks fisa sa ayama fire trucks yalibola ayama fire trucks yakumalabo ayama fire trucks tayakwata equipment ayama fire trucks fiakale ayama fire twalimwene fuebene twamona. And this government carries on because it is a corrupt government. How many medicines would that 1 million have bought? How many school places would it have paid? How many teachers, if you buy that debt swap with fee, how many allowances for teachers would it have solved? $42 million, General, disappears, stolen. Now, those are the things that we saw. What about things that we never saw? If white elephants but dudika across the country, inflated contracts. It's not normal kukwate finti firi inflated. Akantu fiaka no instead ya kukula mwe fintu fikankala baya kula fetch kule impia ba shaya kuisenda lama efeture ipush because it is not normal. Via Kongola for Livingston, Ndola, and KK International Airport. KK International Airport, va Kongole mpia shabudira. First, va chinjama specifications. Everything shonse fibudira fianomba. How can you govern a country with fiabudira? Yonse fiabudira. It's a government of fiabudira. Shaya kuisa na beba general na beba nivaka bwana. That's exactly what happened. So it's very simple. Corruption has come to define this government. This government should not make a mistake. And this party, that Zambians appreciate hardship. They know if the situation is difficult. Abena Zambia ba mano kutiba amona no kumfa kutiba umfanga mwaya balondoro irokwe, but we are experiencing difficulties.
Yeah.
No, but Zambians are not going to tolerate it here. But we are experiencing difficulties. Imwe mule wina, imwe mule pakama, imwe mule sungapo, nama pockets yenu na yesula. Ero no mwa bena Zambia tiyo mkwai continue struggling because we are struggling. If this country is struggling, Zambians want to see that struggle in their leaders. No tuku mwana ama leaders bena bale wina, bale pakama. Zambians are getting poorer. At Yom Kwai, we have to sacrifice. No. If there was any sacrifice, we should have seen a reduction in the wealth of the president, not an increase in his wealth, because it runs no business. Which business does President Lungu run? How come he grew from tukwacha, iyo bakwete, mwitumba. Tukwacha, ba Lungu, bakwete tukwacha mutumba, mwebo, tukwacha. Bali abapya ati yo ati bali ni ba lawyer mwe ba lawyers tabako atolu pia bali pia muka kanshita mumona ni lawyer nshuwa kwa atolu pia ni babiri nangu batatu mulusaka ebo mumona kwana kalima konse balu pia bali abapya balungu nempia bapangire from privatization shonse bali pulira tapali mpia esho bakwete chiria bateka from 2 kwacha to 23 billion 2 billion, 3 billion. You know, instead now if you can 23 billion, is it 23 million?
More than that.
When Zambians have become poorer, number bena ba lungu impia shafumakwi. Kwa liba fiaba bapera kwa banabo atiyo mkwai we lungu walepa kwino tuwakutulikira tuwakufuitire mpia. No, that's not how it works. Shafuma fire trucks. Shafuma corruption. Shafuma nangu nikuba nabo bene aba nabo nibali abachita nabo business. Iyo ni common sense. Pantu impia tashipona fya mumuru shaisa fisha kukonkati pantu niweka teka. No. It comes from somewhere. So we challenge him again. Where has he gotten his wealth from? So nombe fifia kuba tibade randa tiyo mkwai na chupa. Bena tachupire. Bena he's living a very good life. He has become extremely rich while Zambians have become poor. Chokanshi patu of Zambians have a clear choice to make. General.
Musha, we paid $1 million for each truck. What was surprising was that when it came to insure the trucks, the fire tenders, or according to Ruben Hambulo, somebody called Mulusa, called them the wheelbarrows. The insurance, they insured them for 200,000. Whether the insurance was 200,000 kwacha when they bought them at 1 million each. The question is, how can you insure something which is worth $1 million? Then for insurance, you go and insure them for 200,000 US dollars.
Right. There is definitely something wrong there.
There is something really, really not nice there. Something not right. That is the first issue. Let's go to the ambulances, Mush. The same story with ambulances. The same story with ambulances. We were told these ambulances cost $288. Not $288,000 each. And we were told that these ambulances were top of the range. They were German ambulances that are going to be equipped with everything. They paid $288,000. They came back and found that the ambulances are basic. Yeah. Basic. So how can they tell us to say, no, there is no corruption? There is corruption, Musha.
Right.
Mr. Lungu and his government and his ministers and his permanent secretaries and all these people who have been involved in this procurement thing, they have been very, very corrupt. Right. So that is the second thing, is those ambulances, Zambians, in the next 10, 12 days, you ask, what happened? How did we end up paying $1 million for a fire tender and $288,000 for one ambulance? And Musha, on the fire tenders, we then ended up having insult or salt on our wounds because the first lady then flew to America. Flew to America with about 15 people, including a butler, a cook, and everybody else, to go and receive donations of old fire tenders, which were donated, old ones. But this lady went to America with a team of, I think it was more than 25 people. Somebody can correct me, and spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to go, and she spent her time there to receive old fire tenders which had to be shipped here. And have you ever seen those fire tenders on the road? I've never seen them.
General, I've seen them in pictures by Facebook. This is a government of Facebook. As long as they take pictures for Facebook,
so those fire tenders which were donated were only on, because I've never seen one. I've never seen one. If any of our viewers has seen one of Mrs. Lungu's fire tenders, please take a picture or tell us that you met it this morning.
Right. Okay. So now, General, we've got to then the break off for church. We're going to share a link of the church service, and then we're going to come back for more because this is a 6 to 6 presentation.
Yeah, we hope when we come back, our viewers, we hope we'll have Honorable Garin Kombo. We hope we'll also have Honorable Mwetwa coming through, and we also hope we'll continue having our MPs.
Right.
What do you think, Memusha?
Yes, we'll continue doing that, General. It's 6 to 6. This is, and then there is a rally that starts at
3 o'clock.
At 3 o'clock to about 6, right?
Yeah. Unless there's before we break to church service, unless there's somebody who is able to come live now for their comment before we break to go for church. which we are going to broadcast here continuously. Anybody, Musha?
Okay, so I have Barnabas, I have Patrick, I have Mokelabai, I have JR, and I have Justo Siantabwa. What we want to do is we can end this broadcast. We are going to have a chat with the team here, and then we're going to cross over into church, and then we will have a chat, and then we will continue after church.
Why not allow one to go live, and then we can go into a private chat out of the list you have?
Okay, one. Patrick?
Yes, please. We want to hear about what we've discussed so far. We've discussed about how corrupt the government is, the history of Mr. Lungu, and all the issues. And we also want to hear what your views about the violence which we had yesterday. And we also want to hear about the mysterious cargo which appeared at the airport. So, Patrick Chanda, we don't know where you are. If you don't want to tell us where you are, please just feel free. We want to protect our people. But
of course, definitely.
If you don't care, like me, I don't care. People to tell us, where are you?
Thank you.
Calling us from, Patrick?
Thank you, General. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, of course we can.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Loud and clear. Loud and clear.
So my name is Patrick, and I'm joining live from South Australia. And can I just say thank you for giving me this opportunity to come live. It's really amazing to actually be on this platform. I just want to thank you guys for the amazing work that you have continued to be doing, and I hope you will continue to do so even after the elections as we have a change of regime. So to start off, I just want to say that I think us as Zambians, we're tired of corruption. We want accountability, but we want accountability on the highest level, because I think for so long they've kept us in an oppressive state where we feel like we can't speak out, we can't voice out our opinions and how we feel. We can't continue as a country in 2021, to run a country like you're running a classroom. You cannot do that. I think our leaders should respect the country first, put their interests aside, and put the interests of the country and the people first. There's no way, that corruption was justified, purchasing fire tenders, secondhand for that matter, secondhand fire tenders. All of them have probably died by now, because we've seen videos on Facebook where they don't have water, they've just died out, they're parked on the streets. So we wasted all that money through corruption to buy secondhand fire tenders that haven't served its purpose. Yes, markets were being burnt down by whoever was burning them down. We do not know. But why did we rush to purchasing fire trucks that we didn't even need? Look at the hospitals. There's no medication in the hospitals. It's actually laughable as a country. And what we are saying as the people and as the citizens, we're saying, look, we want accountability. Even after the 12th of August, when HH becomes president, we still want accountability. Even actually on the first day, as Zambians, we were saying accountability starts now. We're not going to wait until, we see how they're doing as a government. No, we need to hold them accountable as a country and as a nation. We cannot continue living our lives as a laughingstock. These other countries, look at Zambia and look at us as a laughingstock. They actually even did a case study. I'm pretty sure most of you saw a case study of how not to run a country, of how not to run an economy. We've borrowed all this money that we've misplaced because we have misplaced priorities. We are in debt. I'm young right now. I'm 25 years old. And I can see the fact that this debt that we've acquired from China and all these other countries, my children's children will have to pay back until we say no. Accountability is now. If these guys come on the 12th, they come out from government, we need to start probing them. All the money that they've stolen, they need to pay back. That money has to go back to the economy, and that money has to serve the Zambian citizens.
Patrick, thank you so much. Which part of Australia are you?
I'm in South Australia, and it's actually right now it's 20 to 6. So 20 to 6 p.m.
20 to 6 p.m. Thank you so much thank you. So how did you hear about TVBAKWETU in Australia? It's strange. It's strange, Musha.
I've been watching TVBAKWETU since it began because I followed Elias Musha ages ago. So I've always been watching, and I actually sent you a message, Elias. I'm not sure if you saw it. I think it's been like 2 months, but I was like, I really love what you guys are doing, and at one point I want to become part of it as a Zambian, to share my views and to just appreciate you guys for what you're doing. But the thing is, the time TVBAKWETU goes live in South Australia, it's probably like 4 a.m., 5 a.m.
Yeah,
so
I know.
Yeah, I do wake up sometimes to just watch a bit of it and then go to work. But like when I saw today that you guys were actually live and it's during the day here, I was like, I need to log on and I need to be part of it, whether they're going to add me on or not. But I'm just glad that I'm able to be here at this time.
Fantastic.
Thank you very much, Patrick. Now, Patrick, don't go away. Stay on, because we are going to just go into the chat room here. Barnabas, Mukelawai, and JR, please stay on. We've got to transition now into a church service. We don't know how, at what precise time that it is starting, but we are going to share a link. And the reason why we are sharing a church service, because Zambia is a Christian nation, and you Zambians get concerned when we have a secular program on a Sunday. So turefwaya tubike po church. Pakaba tumuishi bati na ifwe bene twalite mwa church. Kange mfwe babende. So we're going to have church, and then we'll come back and continue with the program. General?
But before we go, Musha, to our viewers, if you've got any topic which you want us to cover, we're covering the 6-to-6 election, preparing for the elections. We are looking at the performance of the PF government. We are looking at violence and how we should stop violence. We are looking at the electoral process. We are looking at the mysterious cargo. If you have got anything which you want us to talk about, which you want us to cover, and you've got anything which you want to add, please just type these things in or inbox me or Musha, especially me, because Musha has got too many people inboxing him. He won't react quickly, but inbox me, I'll respond very, very quickly. So after church service, we'll come back. After that, we'll join the UPND live virtual rally. We'll continue until 6 o'clock. Too many topics, too many things to be discussed. The PF government and this failure. There's the issue of the debt. Is a serious issue. There's the question of PCP and fertilizer, the corruption. We will discuss that. The issue of oil and a company called Delta Energy. We will discuss about it. There are a lot of things. The road network and the infrastructure where they are stealing from. We will discuss about them. We will also discuss about Kamgodi. What does Kamgodi mean? So when we come back, we will discuss those. But if you've got any questions, any comments, you want us to, anything you want, please type it in. I will pick it up. Over to you, Musha.
And for those that are sending stars, please do so. And you can also subscribe to become a supporter of TVBAKWETU. We are going to have very exclusive and nice perks for you. We know that it's not every country that is able to do the supporter thing, but if you are able to, just go to our page. There is a button there that says supporter. Click it and then become a supporter. Send stars and let us do that. For those on YouTube, you can still do it as well. YouTube has its own program, and so you can contribute something via YouTube, because we want to continue providing excellent service to you. For those that are in the waiting room, please stay there. Because we are going to do something exciting with you shortly. Okay?
Musha, there's a message for you. Mpundu Katulendwe says Musha looks tired and dehydrated. Mr. Musha, please drink some water and eat some njanjata. We need you. So Mpundu, it's about midnight in Canada. Am I right, Musha?
Yes, this is 02.
02 in the morning.
Yeah.
So please forgive this man. We had a live show yesterday which went on for about 4 hours, and he hasn't slept basically. I slept for 4 hours. So please, Mpundu Napapata. But since he's eating mjanjata, Bundu, can you please help our candidates? Send them 200 kwacha Bundu, please, Napapat. Over to you. Over to you.
All right, thank you. It's 6 to 6 today, and I'm going to stock up on Chimjajati. Others are calling it Chijajati, but the language does not allow. Chijajati is what? Chinyanja, Chimujajati. Chimujajati. That's better. But anyway, we will continue arguing on the syntax of language because we are a complicated country. And so stay on. Let's have a chat. We'll see you on the other side, and please enjoy the service. I think we'll be crossing over to Miracle Life. Okay.
Fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, we'll see you. God bless you, and God bless our country.
Thank you. God bless you too.